We have a controversial episode this week.
Is that right?
Well, I didn't think it was controversial until you and I had the discussion about the sandwich place that we're ordering from.
Oh.
And it raises kind of the larger, overreaching question. The place we're doing today is called Capistrami?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Now, it's not?
I don't think so.
She just said it was.
I think it's like
Capistrano's
or something.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Listen.
We got to get the name of the place.
I guess it would help to get the name right.
Yeah,
but here's
I'm going to get it for you right now.
Capriotti's. Really?
No.
Okay.
Is that right?
Capriotti's. But here's the thing. Here's the controversy.
Capriotti's.
When it was first brought to our attention, it looked like really a gourmet, high-end, this may be a great discovery sandwich shop.
Maybe to the undiscerning eye.
And then you looked a little further. After we committed,
I just looked at the website.
No, that was further. And it turns out that they have locations in many different states.
Yeah.
And you immediately, in sharp retort, having not tasted a bite of their food, leapt to what could be a correct conclusion, which is that you can't have gourmet great sandwiches in a franchise type nationwide setting. And I said, you might be right, but I don't know. I want to taste the sandwiches. So that's really the question is once something becomes a nationwide chain, has it automatically already kind of degraded in quality to the point where it's now a universal and it's not special?
Well, I think you can have something good, but I don't think you can have something great. The ingredients can't be as good because the biggest problem with the restaurant business, as I understand it, is consistency. And in order to get that consistency over hundreds of locations, you just can't get like locally sourced, really good ingredients.
But that doesn't matter to most people. And
we're not talking about most people. We're talking about about me. Do you think that there's a chain?
Yes.
That you think delivers as quality of product as any individual boutique sandwich shop?
Yes.
Name it.
Which ones? You might be right. I don't know.
Chick-fil-A. I think there's that one sandwich. For me, and again,
as a chicken sandwich, that's a great sandwich. There's no question.
But I don't think it's as good if you went to a restaurant that makes it all in-house.
I disagree.
Like you go to a good Nashville hot chicken place kind of thing.
Now, I don't know the answer to this. I'm trying to think because my first thought was, well, come on. Of course you could have something great. It must be great to have that kind of nationwide popularity to some extent.
It can be good. It can be very good, but it's just not the same.
But can you replicate greatness in a chain setting?
This goes back to our old argument about art and taste. And what defines greatness? And I believe that greatness is a very individual decision that we all make individually. And just because you don't think it's great, that doesn't mean it's not great.
That's not actually. You changed your definition.
Oh.
Yeah, because you were a populist. You actually took the position that the best measure of something was great, but was by sales. So in your mind, the best sandwich is a McDonald's hamburger.
That was just an argument about that part. No, my position is...
You were pretty strong on sales.
No, but I'm just saying, if somebody said to me, this is great, and then said, and the reason I believe it is because it's the most popular and most successful, I said that is a perfectly rational definition of greatness.
But that's not your definition.
And no, my definition is every individual has the right to make that determination. And if I think it's great and you don't think it's great, that doesn't mean it's not great. It's great to me.
And I agree with you that the Chick-fil-A original chicken sandwich, for what it is a great sandwich.
Yeah.
But can you think of any other...
For what it is.
For what it is.
Wait.
Well, for what it is a chicken sandwich. It's a delicious chicken sandwich.
No, it's a fast food chicken sandwich.
No, it's a sandwich.
Honestly, I'll be honest, I don't know that I've ever eaten a chicken sandwich in a fancy place that I thought was any better than the Chick-fil-A sandwich. But can you think of any others? Are there any other chain
you get it on
foods?
Better bread. I think the bread in a sandwich place is going to be big.
The Chick-fil-A bun is delightful.
But you were so limited. Just think of all the people that go to McDonald's
wait a second
3 or 4 times a week and love it.
Yes,
and die early.
This is the sandwich.
That's a different story.
This sandwich we got to talk about before you bite it. This is Thanksgiving on a sandwich. They call it the Bobby. And apparently, this won the award for the best sandwich in the country.
This is the Thanksgiving sandwich?
This is the Thanksgiving. It's called the Bobby. This was the one I was most excited to try because, as you remember, when we started, the very first episode of Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches was actually the leftover contest that we did with the Thanksgiving leftovers. I feel like we've returned from whence it all began.
That's a good sandwich.
Let me try this.
I've only seen it one other place.
Oh my God.
That's really good.
Andy, I mean, at least you're acknowledging it. That's got cranberry, turkey, stuffing.
It's very good.
You know what would be nice with this?
A better bread.
A better bread and a side of dipping gravy. But I got to tell you, I could eat this every day. This is a delicious sandwich.
And that's the whole point about greatness.
No.
Greatness is in the eye of the beholder.
I think if you had a sandwich made out of homemade stuffing, not stovetop, this does appear to be maybe roasted turkey, maybe not. I just think.
But this is a great sandwich.
It's great. It's great.
Now, where was the other place you had a Thanksgiving sandwich?
I got to remember the place. It was in New York.
God damn it.
Thanksgiving on a roll.
With those cranberries on there? That's
Union
good.
Square, Thanksgiving on a roll. Let's see. Is it still there?
Are you sure you're not thinking about the sliders I served up on the episode?
I don't know if the sandwich is
Or your
still
little beauties?
there. Oh, those
This
were
is
delicious.
fantastic. This is fantastic.
It's a good sandwich. I don't know if it's any better than a Chick-fil-A. It's a good sandwich.
Oh, this is not comparable to that.
See,
This is a chain as well.
I also believe
The Bobby.
that the difference between good and great in sandwiches, very dicey. Very.
Well, you've lost, by your own admission, you have lost a lot of your taste buds.
Exactly,
never had.
and that's why every decision is a individual one. You don't know what his taste buds are tasting.
But you say that your taste buds don't really function properly.
Not in the way they used to. No, and I'm probably
Is that age,
should be
COVID, spices? You've ruined your.
probably all there. All
Should we
there.
bring in our guest?
We have a guest today. Okay, let's bring him in. I feel bad because he could have tasted this delicious sandwich.
Well, you still could.
Well, if
Sure.
I let him have any of it, might go for seconds.
Well, he brought us some sandwiches too, so
Oh, did he?
why don't you hand him that sandwich? Have one on his
Piece,
plate.
cut that in half. If he eats that whole thing, he's not going to have any room for anything else. No, cut that in half. That's too big. Put the other half on here. Put the other half on here. How are you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Lucas.
Lucas. Folks,
Yeah.
this is Lucas from STL Bucket List. For those of you who don't know and are not familiar, and we'd like to greet you with a bit of this first sandwich that we've tried because you're here.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
why not? It's called the Bobby.
A place called Capriotti's, which is a chain restaurant. I've never heard of it before, but they appear to have maybe 100 locations.
Yeah, this is the first I've ever heard of it. And if this first sandwich is any indication, I think they're onto something special.
Which is controversial for us because this may be the first chain, and it was sort of unintentional at first. It was the first chain I think we've had on.
Yeah, I met the owner down in the lobby. I saw him dropping it off. So
Well, he came himself.
Oh, of
Are you
the-
sure
of
that
the
wasn't our
local
DoorDash
franchise?
driver?
no,
I thought we dashed him.
It was the owner.
Lucas, what do you think of that sandwich? Is that Thanksgiving on a roll?
No,
Is that your
I
taste?
think it's great. I mean, it's very moist. The roll is soft. I like it. But yeah, I've never heard of the place either. So
I
glad
will
got
say
to
this.
try it.
Where are they located?
For a chain,
Yeah.
this is about as good as
Hill?
it gets.
Yeah.
Rock Hill.
And-
I wonder if they're new. I know where they are. They're next to Katie's Pizza and Pasta in Rock Hill.
Okay.
I drove past there and I said, "New sandwich place. We got to try it." I guess this was it.
I will tell you this. When I was cutting the sandwiches, once I got my hands on the sandwiches, the way they were put together was somebody put a lot of love into those sandwiches. Undoubtedly, those are not a typical fast food or chain restaurant sandwiches. I will give them that. It is not. Somebody really was trained well and really cared about making that sandwich. And it was delicious.
And you know what? I give them some credit because we've seen a lot of national sandwich chains kind of, fall out of favor. I mean, remember when Quiznos, the home of the toasted sub, they got hot for a while. Find me a Quiznos now.
But even those were not
Actually,
good.
I know where Quiznos is.
Find it for me. Where is it?
It's in Louisiana. Tina's cousins.
Really, there's still a
They own a
Quiznos?
Quizno or two.
Huh.
I'm having the damnedest time with this. I don't know if you've ever seen this product, Lucas. This is something called a split flask. And the idea is it actually has two sides. There's a hot side and a cold side. On the cold side, I've got ice cold soda. And on the hot side, I've got piping hot coffee. And
Makes
it's a
total
great
sense,
idea.
right? Could you get a straw that has a Y that just combines them before it gets to your mouth?
What I'm having
have you
trouble with
ever,
is
when you had
when
a
I
cup
go
of
to
coffee,
sip in the straw,
Have you ever opened
coming?
a soda and do you ever?
nothing's
have that
coming through the
desire?
straw.
No,
And on the
that's what I'm
hot
saying,
side,
yeah.
I'm holding up to my face and nothing is pouring out of the spout.
I'm
but
wondering
why
the
do you
use case.
Wait,
This is
yeah,
the first time,
but-
maiden voyage on this.
But do you think you're drinking them equally?
I would drink them equally. Don't. Have you not noticed? On every episode, I have 2 cups here. I have a hot coffee and I have a cold soda.
This is gonna shock
and I
you.
alternate.
No.
No,
Never noticed. Did
but
you
what
notice?
about
See
you?
if you're like leaving the house
I
for
wouldn't-
hours.
I don't.
Right.
Those are two different needs.
You start but if you're leaving the house for several hours, you start with your coffee.
Yeah.
A couple hours later, I'm going to have a sody.
yeah.
So you're a big
but-
soda guy, huh? When it comes
No.
to sandwiches?
You know what it is?
No, he's a big buying stuff guy.
Here's what I find. Here's what I find.
Would you get that on
Hated
TikTok?
soda until he
Get that
bought
on
this
TikTok?
I think I probably got it on TikTok. And here's what happened. When
Did
I'm
you get
eating
that jumpsuit you
when
were
I'm
wearing in
eating
those
is
videos on TikTok
now
too?
that's from Sweatcito, but that one
That thing
that's a
was
beautiful.
fresh.
That it
That thing was
really is.
fresh.
Everybody should have one of those. Here's what I do is if I'm washing down food that's in my mouth, I like to wash food down with cold. But if my mouth is clean and clear, I like the sweet, hot comfort of the coffee. I go back and forth the whole episode.
Listen. I'm not
Wow.
saying you don't have a reason for what you do.
He's just saying
I
you're
just
nuts.
think it's an odd reason. That's all. I've never had a glass of hot tea. I don't like coffee.
But you're not a
And
coffee or tea drinker,
No,
Rob.
I'm just saying I've never had the desire to have both instantly available.
Well, let me,
And apparently you haven't either.
I will sometimes bring a coffee and a
Let me
soda or water
suggest to
on.
you,
different-
I
two
would
different
suggest
cups,
that
though, right?
almost
Yeah,
any
yeah.
place you've gone to, especially if a breakfast place, and you know you're going to get coffee, very likely they have an ice cold glass of water sitting at
for
your
sure.
table.
Yep.
And don't tell me you haven't
You're right.
tasted off a
Yeah,
bowl.
yeah,
But it's not
yeah.
little bit of this.
Anyway,
little bit of
See, this
What-
is
what
when
do
we
you
close
think-
the case.
Going back to Ed's peculiarities, what do you
Oh,
think
that could
the
be- that's
most
a whole- that's gonna be a
popular
whole
month in the
podcast.
United States is?
I'd have to say the month we're in now, October. Spooky
Thank you.
season, fall.
Yeah, beautiful weather.
Well, good
No,
thing you're sitting next
Well,
to the
apparently,
lunatic.
according to him,
You're good company.
according to one thing he
It's-
saw on the internet, it came in
it's
second.
June.
No, it came in second to
Yeah.
December.
It's
Which
June-
makes a lot more
it's June
sense.
or
But December
June
has
was
Christmas.
Yeah, but June's
June should
because
be number one.
It's the beginning of
No,
summer.
June should be number 1, 2, and 3.
No, I think we could all agree December is probably there just because people like the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you take that wild card out, October you can't really beat the weather. The leaves changing, the crisp coolness.
Assuming you don't live in San Diego.
People like to wear a sweater. You know, it's a nice thing. But tell us, before we get to
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's
you're here
get
for
to
a
you.
reason.
Yeah, sir.
St.
Yeah,
Louis
let's
bucket
talk
list.
about you,
For
yes.
those people who don't know what it is and what it's all about, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so in its simplest form, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. Huge fans of your show. You guys have been doing content for a long time, but in its simplest form, STL Bucket List is highlighting the people, places, and events that make St. Louis special. We fit in those 3 buckets. We have a podcast. We highlight people on social media daily. We put out 100 pieces of new content every month.
Wow.
And then we...
So where would they find that? You've put it out where? On Instagram, on
Yes.
TikTok, on Facebook? Where
So-
should we be following you?
We're on every platform, but we really spend about 90% of our energy on Instagram. Our core audience is between the ages of 21 and 39, and we see that they're spending the most time.
Yeah.
Maybe not you, you're on
No,
TikTok,
no,
it
that's
seems like, but
statistically, you're right. You're right on that.
yeah, they're spending a lot of time on Instagram.
Yeah, we're putting everything we put on TikTok, we put on Instagram, and then some.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how it got started, who's behind it, what the goal was.
Yeah, so my wife and I, originally from St. Charles, we moved to Southampton right here down the street off Chippewa and Kings Highway.
Nice. Very nice.
And when we moved there, we would travel a lot. We would go to New York, we'd go to Chicago, and my wife planned her whole trip around Instagram. So then when we came back to St. Louis, I said, where's this platform here in St. Louis? I looked at the pages like ran by the Explore St. Louis, but they weren't really highlighting St. Louis for younger people like us. So we created the handle, and we started posting. That was in 2019. So
And
Wow,
you
so
guys
this
have
is
been
all
very successful.
Very successful. Brag a little bit.
Yeah.
So for those people who don't know, Talk about the following that you've built in a 5-year period and how you've done that.
Talk about the Lamborghini you drove here.
Yeah. So really organic, completely organic. We don't run any paid ads, but we built a combined community of over 350,000 people.
That's amazing.
92% of those people here in St. Louis.
That's amazing.
Instagram's our biggest platform. We have 205,000 followers on Instagram.
Spectacular.
And then I know you guys are numbers guys, those impressions. So we reach about 5 million
plates.
people monthly through impressions. So 5 million unique monthly visitors.
Why aren't we sponsoring
So
the
can
bucket
you make
list?
You can be.
can you make
this over there.
is this how you make your living?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So you're a full-time internet person.
Sensation.
So it is a full-time job. We have a team of 7 people. We have content creators. We also have a marketing agency based right here in St. Louis. We're right down the street on North Grand Avenue, right across the street from the Fox Theater. So our marketing agency is our main business. So we help other businesses kind of do the same thing as us. Now, we're not building 200,000 followers on all these places, but so mostly it is our main thing. But we do have the marketing agency. We have a podcast that we monetize as well. So you got to kind of have streams when you're an internet influencer. You got to try to find ways to get creative.
How do you maintain sort of the integrity of what you're trying to put out without just giving away to the highest bidder?
So about 70% of the stuff we do is completely organic and free. So we visit at least 4 to 5 new places every week, completely free. We do paid to play as well. And we have paid partnerships with local car dealerships, banks, different things like that we obviously help promote their stuff that they're doing. But a lot of the stuff we do is completely free. We go out and support these local businesses.
Jen, which sandwich had
real
looks
spectacular.
like corned beef on it?
I think that's pastrami. I think that's the capriotti.
Pastrami. It's very good.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a
I gotta
great,
tell you,
great sandwich.
I'm impressed. And if you haven't featured them on the bucket list, I think we just did you a favor and
it's
found you a
time.
new place.
Yeah, it's time.
Take a bite to that.
Yeah.
That's on.
No, great sandwich.
Listen, you could tell by even using coleslaw as a topping for pastrami. These are people. These are sandwich people. Probably originated somewhere in there in New York, where these type of things all seem to come from.
Feels like Jersey, Staten Island.
Yeah, well, the Northeast.
This is a great bite. This is a great bite.
It really is. I mean, that's pastrami. It's not fatty at all. It's got almost a little crisp to it, like they sliced it up and maybe hit it on the griddle for a little bit, like Nomad does.
for sure.
Returning to our
I'm
guest.
looking to see where
Yeah,
they're
but
from.
let's not forget the core business.
Our guest is along
Go
for
ahead.
the journey.
Let
Terry, go ahead.
me ask you a question,
Yes, sir.
which I think a lot of people would be interested. What is the magic number in followers, listeners, whatever, whatever, however? What is your unit of measure?
So
A follower or
Delaware. They're from Delaware.
They're from Delaware. The magic sauce is really not in the followers. It's in how hyper local we are, where our followers are at,
Right.
and then also it's in the engagement, because you guys know as well as anyone, you could have thousands of followers, but if people aren't taking action,
Right.
people aren't going to want to pay for that.
You know what I think?
Well, wait. Let me just finish. So,
Yeah.
what's the magic number?
So
I mean, how many
What level
people
of penetration do you
need?
think you can get in St. Louis?
So you could make it, like I'm sure there are people, if anybody's listening, I'm sure there are people that say, I could do that, or I'd like to. What's the magic number?
I
How
think it
many
could be a
people do-
full-time. It can be a full-time career for you if you have 100,000 followers. But in St. Louis here, we're looking at 2.8 million as the magic number. That's how many people we have in the metro. How many of those people can we capture to follow our page? And if we can get close to that, obviously not everybody's on Instagram. Are you on Instagram, Terry? Of
I actually am.
No, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry's very surprisingly savvy, but when it comes to the tech stuff, and I think it was born out of what we do for a living. I don't think he had a choice.
Yeah.
He's got to be on all the platforms.
But so
They may
Well,
have
if
more
you got
local
paid
followers than
2.8
any other Instagram handle.
Yeah, we do.
They're number one
really?
in a 5-year period. That's
Any page,
spectacular.
there's people that have more followers, but you can't tell if those are local.
No, but
for a local page, community
to have that many, I've never heard of another page that has that many.
So when you say they're not local, those are people I know buy followers, correct? I mean, you can.
Well, you can buy followers,
Right.
but
Well, no, it'd be like on your page. your children live in LA, and so they're not local
not local.
followers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or it's like an influencer, like a mommy blogger, but all the moms live across the country. They're not in St. Louis. So our page is named after St. Louis. We've been able to pass up Explore St. Louis, Downtown St. Louis, and these are all government entities that create these pages. And I think that we have our nose to the streets, and we want to make sure that people know that we're local, we're independent.
Did you find that you had a bump, with the Riverfront Times kind of going south? I imagine that was a resource a lot of younger people still were using to find things.
Yeah.
Did you see an uptick in what happened with Bucket List after that?
So I really liked the Riverfront Times. I liked what they did.
Everybody did.
I really thought that they were as close as an independent media source as we are. And really what we saw more of was those businesses that were advertising in there were looking for somewhere else to kind of get engagement. So they did call us. We did have people call us after that, like, hey, I've been running ads in the Riverfront Times. Can you guys come out and do some posts about us? We want to keep that engagement up. So we did see a little bit of that, but no, I loved what they did. I like what all of our independent magazines
Did anyone ever find out what happened to the Riverfront Times?
Well, you heard about what happened. You saw the new guy that bought it, right?
Well,
But what do you do
I
with it?
remember
What's
there
the
was
plan?
somebody
Some
who-
OnlyFans thing.
But was that real? I know that there was a tweet about that. Some person
guy
tweeted
He's
about
the
it,
one who's-
but I
he's the
don't know if
editor.
it actually happened. There was some question as to whether or not
If you
that
go to their
person was
page
legit.
now, a lot of their new articles are ads for OnlyFans models, which makes no sense to me. I don't understand.
Well, it does in that,
Yeah.
a lot of those newspapers like that originally made a lot of their money from the classified sections.
Yep.
And it's very possible that, OnlyFans models make
determined to
enormous
figure
amounts
out
of
why the
money.
hell
So
this
maybe they
isn't
can pay a lot for ads.
Yeah.
They had maybe a good demographic for OnlyFans users. It could be that somebody just did the math and was like, oh, this stupid newspaper's killing you. Sell OnlyFans advertisements.
Yeah.
Although how long can that last? Because, they got to have some content on there that continues to
And I think
bring
the content
people.
now is AI. It just looks like the basic, hey, top 10 places to go in St. Louis. Like they do have some. Like if you guys get a second, browse their thing. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think it hurts. Like I wish somebody would have came in that really loved media and loved St. Louis and bought it. But that's just how things go sometimes.
They had great reporting.
Yeah, no,
I
they
mean,
did.
over
Good
the
writers.
years,
Good writers.
frankly, it was for a long time a lot better than the Post.
But they didn't pay much. I think what possibly
better.
happened many years ago, someone told me, and I don't even know if this is true or not, that they believed that you could buy the Riverfront Times for almost nothing, like literally almost nothing, almost free, if you assumed their debt.
Okay.
So it is possible. I have no idea what
Now,
the economic condition
we
was.
have no idea how much the debt was. That could have been a steady price.
That's right, but it could be that
Somebody
the
was just trying to get
operation
out
was
of it.
just unsustainable.
This is odd. You know who called me yesterday?
that
Ray
guy.
Hart.
Ray Hartman.
Really?
Yeah,
Who's
he's
that?
running for Congress.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, a nice guy, very smart. But I guess started the Riverfront Times, didn't
Wow.
he?
Hey,
Really bright guy.
let's give some love to some of the early people that
And is
got
on
in
Donnie
with you.
Book still, right?
Were there some people in the early
yeah.
day of St. Louis Bucket List that were the first ones to really embrace the platform?
Yeah.
You want to give them a little love while you're on here?
I would
You
love
got
to.
3
I'm
I'm
people
sure we
watching?
were some of those.
the three people. You guys have been always big supporters. I think Ballpark Village was one of the first people that actually wrote us a check to come do something for him.
Huh.
Mike Martini over there, he's amazing. The Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis
Are we writing him a check?
has been no.
Not yet. But have we been on the
Just one.
podcast?
Not yet. We've been trying to set up, but I had a baby, so I've been out for a little
Oh,
bit,
okay.
and then all that. But
How old?
8 months old. Yeah, so I've been in dad mode.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
thank
awesome.
you. The Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis is another huge partner of ours. We've been able to highlight local artists all throughout the page. They've been a longtime podcast sponsor. Bommarito Automotive Group's been a huge sponsor for us over the
you give me your
past
plates?
year.
What is this?
How
Meatball?
much money must their advertising budget be? Bommarito seems to
They
support.
spend a lot of money.
How many
It's high.
dealerships do they
You know what?
have?
They got 20.
Good for them.
That
Yeah.
must be
Doesn't
that must be an
But
enormous
doesn't that make you
operation.
happy? I like when I see a local company
That's great.
dominating, doing good, doing good things for the community.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to them. And Luffy's. I mean, there are a lot of companies you see that they're out there, all the soccer fields out in Maryland Heights that they have. A lot of companies doing good things. I like to count us amongst those. I feel
Yeah, you
like
guys
we
are
take
definitely
that
one of
seriously too.
Yeah, you guys are
Who
definitely
else?
one of
Who
those.
else should we give a little love to? Who's giving a lot back to the community? Who's doing their fair share and then some?
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back to the Regional Arts Commission. They're the largest public funder of art in St. Louis. If you guys
Are they
notice
the
all
City
those,
Garden people or no?
No, the City Garden is a different foundation. But if you guys see all these new murals around here, they just funded 13 murals across 13 different wards, and they give out grants. They give out millions of dollars of grants every year to local artists.
In fact, I think David Ruggieri did.
He did one.
The murals, maybe on the Loop.
He did one. I
Or
know.
here.
I recognize that name. He definitely did a couple around here.
Any
Public art-
relation to the restaurant people?
I don't know.
I would guess.
What do we got?
Maybe.
That's meatball. That's good. Although I will say this.
Jen?
The meatball is a place where you're going to notice between a local and a national meatball.
Yeah. Now let me say
Exactly.
this.
It's good.
For a chain, it's very good. But yes, this one I agree with you on.
This ain't a local meatball.
There's just too many great meatball recipes out there to think that they're going to find one that recreates it. But I will say that's a lot better than a Subway meatball or a Quiznos meatball.
But they're probably not making
like
these
the
in-house. Although maybe they are. Who knows?
You can pass some.
We're in
paper
meatball
towel.
heaven here
Yeah.
in the hill too. On the hill too. As
We
well.
really are.
Yeah.
So you sampled. I'm
Yeah,
guessing
we ain't eating
more-
Delaware meatballs
You
in this
probably
neighborhood.
have had more than we've had in terms of things in St. Louis.
Yeah.
What are the gems? What are we missing?
So I think that one of the best chefs in St. Louis, hands down, has been Paremba. His food is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Which places are his?
Olio over here in Tower
Has
Grove.
Nick's opened up yet?
They're about to open up again, but the newest spot he just opened is called Esca.
My
Unbelievable.
wife has eaten there like
Unbelievable.
a dozen times.
It's the best restaurant in St.
loves
Louis
it there.
right
It's
now.
very good, and it's a very nice. It's a really
feels good.
cool place.
Yeah.
And I always end up spending a lot of time in the bathroom there.
Yeah.
Not because of the food, not because they have a record player in there, like an old
do.
one,
Yeah.
and I always end up looking through the records and putting music on and really setting a vibe.
You know, honestly, that is a comfortable thing to do. I think I don't know if it brings you back to your childhood, but I love looking through albums like
Brings
that.
me back to today.
They got a lot of good albums there.
So let me ask you this. This is a question. We
that?
should be asking people this all the time. What is the best bite of food in St. Louis? Like not just the
bite.
restaurant. One bite. You can have one bite
One
of
bite,
any
everybody knows the
entree.
rules.
Any entree from any restaurant in St. Louis. Your favorite bite.
So I think that, one bite is tough. I was just at Joya's today. That hot salami is one of the best bites if you're looking for just a quick sandwich. I was
Do you
Sato.
like it? Do you like it with the jardiniere on it?
Oh, yeah.
The spicy daggett.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's a good sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Sato?
Sato has some of the best bites.
have
They're
some
right
good-
here in your
Yeah,
neighborhood.
they're
Yeah,
good
which
stuff.
bite do you like best at Sato? I know.
I actually like one of their more inexpensive ones. It's a mushroom sashimi. So like they have the fish, they have all these different things, but it's a mushroom sashimi. It's $3. It melts in your mouth, that mushroom butter. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I would have to say Balkan Treat Box. Basically anything that team does over there is
Wow.
some of the best food that we have.
We really need to do that on the show.
Oh yeah, you need to get her. You need to get Lauren on here.
What about you, Andy? What's the best bite in St. Louis?
2 words that send chills down Ed's spine: mushroom butter.
Yeah, I do love butter. Mushroom, I'd have to. I don't know, but what's your favorite bite in St. Louis?
You know, that thing at Louis is really good because you got to
That's
go
my-
for kind of.
Let me tell you, that's my favorite bite. Is the
one?
gnocco at Louis?
Yeah,
in
it's
Demond.
really good. You got to go to somebody with
When
a
it's
lot of
piping
different
hot.
things in it for one bite.
That bite, and it's like a large gnocchi, but it's a gnocco.
Yeah.
So it's sort of this large potato pasta thing, and it's got a phenomenal ragu
Yeah.
on there, and a little cheese. One bite of that when it's piping hot, I just don't think that there's a better bite to be had in St. Louis. And then
very good.
my other favorite for dessert would be just taking a bite of one of those chocolate drops from the Missouri Baking Company.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are my two. What about you? Any particular bite in St. Louis you could have? You're starving, you're craving it. That one bite that's just
that'd
going
be
to
a
release
crime.
all your tension.
Crime.
He wants
just
to take
loves
a bite
taking a
out of crime.
bite out of crime.
He's the crime dog.
That's right.
McGruff or whatever.
McGruff.
Yeah.
Gruff the crime dog. Yeah.
So what is it? Nothing? You got nothing to offer us here?
No, I'll think about it.
Give it a
It is.
moment.
It's a hard question.
Going back to your previous, what other gems are we missing in St. Louis?
So I think that there's so many great coffee shops in St. Louis.
Oh,
give us
let's
a few
talk.
of those
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's a topic that we get into
Because
quite
I
a
go
bit.
to Comet a lot. Comet
And
is
you
sort
like
of
you like Blueprint.
my third
Blueprint.
space.
And you're right up here, comment right
Yeah,
up here. Yep.
and it's great. But my friends make fun of me for going to Comet.
Why?
Not my friends in town.
yeah.
My friends out because I send them pictures, and they just can't understand how I can sit there at a, because when I take the picture, it looks like you're sitting on the side of a highway.
It does. Yeah.
And the outside, I get it. But you know what? I think it's removed enough that I never think about it. I love sitting outside there.
Yeah.
I think they have great food. I think they have great coffee.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do.
I haven't had their food there.
What people? Well,
I didn't know they had
pastries and stuff.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is
In-house?
those machines. Yeah, they've always remember the croissants and those machines are like 40 grand a good espresso machine.
Yep.
And but it takes like 6 months to really
To make a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I mean, you could have somebody, same machine, same beans, everything.
To dial it
who's mediocre versus somebody who's good, and you're getting two things that taste
Do you
wildly
feel like you
different.
have that level of palate with coffee? Because that's almost like a wine connoisseur level of palate. Me, I put so much sweetener and cream in there.
Okay.
I could be
Are you an espresso
drinking
drinker?
anything.
Yeah, so that's a different thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have that palate, but I drink, my general go-to is a cortado, which is 2 shots of espresso, so 2 ounces of espresso and equal parts milk. It's
the best
so you
drink.
can taste the coffee, right? It's not overwhelmed by milk. There's no sugar.
That's why I can't trust my own opinion.
If
I
you're
can make
putting a
anything
bunch of
taste
sugar
good.
in there, you can't tell. But if you drink something like that, you can tell
This
the
is the
difference
perfect
between a
cup.
good
This
and
is the
bad.
brown and
Yeah.
Rupert.
Cup of coffee.
I think
We the people.
Quarrelsome,
segment.
over in the Central West End, kind of by where the old Juniper was and
Yeah.
Retreat Gastropub.
That's good.
They come from the beer industry, from the yeast industry. They sold their company, made a ton of money, built this beautiful coffee house.
What's it called?
Quarrelsome Coffee.
Oh, we got to go
They
there.
have the same, on our lobby entrance desk, the like kind of cupped black tiles.
Yeah.
They have those in white there.
Their place is beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Quarrelsome's great. I like. There's a little spot over here in South City called Zoomies. You can bring your dog there. They got a dog park in the back.
Oh.
You can sit on the back, bring your dog. Zoomies is incredible.
I gotta say Blueprint because
Blueprint
that's
does
my
a great
other
job.
third space.
Yeah.
The one I go to the one
garage on Watson.
Yeah,
that's right. The
I
garage
spend
on
a lot
Watson.
of
Beautiful.
That's a
They're
cool environment.
great.
It's a cool setting.
I go there.
They know what they're doing
a
there
lot.
too. Those are coffee nerds over there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just like the hip, like sort of vision that they had. You know,
You gotta wear the
it's
sweatsuit today.
Converting a
That's a
thing.
sweatsuit
Oh,
place.
it would go there
And they-
perfectly. And their overnight oats are good.
They care about coffee.
They do.
They really, really do. They put a lot of effort into it. They put a lot of effort into how it feels there. It's just a really
Let me
pleasant
ask you
space to be
another
in.
question.
Yes, sir.
You ever see a UFO?
I haven't.
No,
Really?
there you
Not
go.
sober.
What do you think? What do you think about them?
I do believe in aliens. I just haven't. I'm 28 years old. I haven't experienced that yet.
Well, let me
28,
ask you
you're
though.
you've already built something that, quite frankly, is so impressive.
Thank you.
I mean, that's really special.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
But getting back to aliens, so I think almost everyone believes
Doesn't
in aliens.
everybody wanna get
No, it's
back
got to
to
be a
aliens?
qualifying question because I
Yeah,
think
I
it's a
don't-
cop out to say you believe in aliens because, of course, mathematically there has to be something out there.
Yeah.
My question is a little finer tuned. Do you believe aliens have entered our sort of atmosphere? So, yes, they're out there,
Yeah.
but are any of these reports of UFOs, are those even drones, unmanned drones, have they gotten to where we can see them? Or they're out there separate from us, but none of this nonsense about UFOs that
And
we're
let me
actually seeing
apologize
is
for
real?
each of my partners.
Hey, he opened the door.
No,
I'm just-
I think
no,
this
no,
is
no,
interesting.
no,
Andy takes 90% of the blame, but Andy's coming up strong with his 10%.
I mean, he's a big alien guy, but
Go ahead.
I honestly think that your boy Elon Musk, I think that he has aliens at his new facility down
I think
in
he
Texas.
may be an alien.
Yeah, in Texas at his new
So
facility.
you think he has some?
I think he knows.
Wait, why?
Really?
why-
And they're allowed in? I thought he was all with the, you can't be here if you're not a citizen. What happened to that?
You know,
Are
you're
they-
right.
is
Well,
he
that's why he's
giving
in
them
Texas. He's
citizenship?
getting them right there to the.
Well,
right
and
there
I mean,
to the
not to
edge.
get political, but I'm pretty certain he came in as a non-citizen illegally,
Yeah.
but whatever.
But no,
remember, he's
as
white.
far as aliens goes,
Did your father come in legally?
I don't know.
No. If he did, it's maybe
He
the only.
wasn't there.
That was
maybe the
100
only legal thing he did.
It was 100 years ago. I don't know what he did.
You don't know.
years ago.
Most
Oh my
lie. I mean,
As
Back then, I bet most people
as
did.
shocking as it is, because I'm
yeah,
sure
because how
that
would
your
you,
expertise in aliens
what
is important for us to tap
would you
into.
have climbed
Yeah.
over to get here
Well,
from
he
Russia?
took a boat, but I don't know
But you
how
had
easy
to-
it was
no,
back then.
I don't think boats just came and just pulled up anchor and on North Carolina and people swam.
I don't
off.
know. I mean, back then
they
it
went
was a
to
long way to
ports,
go.
You know,
Yeah.
no, I think everybody came in through Ellis Island, and
Do you think he came in through Ellis Island? Do
I
you
would
know?
guess, yeah.
I wonder, have you ever gone to Ellis Island and looked
I
if his name's
actually
there?
did. There were no croupions.
Well, did you look at all that?
But I don't know if, well, that would
There's
say.
so many different spellings.
It's a made-up name.
I mean, you have relatives, right, that have spelled it differently.
Well, it was a different alphabet. It was the Cyrillic, the Russian alphabet.
Yeah.
So people were just hearing something very quickly.
Some of your
Blood
relatives spell it with K-R-U-P-I-N.
Right, but when they came into wherever, call it Ellis Island, when they landed, their name was not.
You think it was Krupinski?
I think his name was Krupinin, right? But again, I'm
K-R-U-P-I-N-I-N
I'm dealing with the most unreliable reporters of fact, my parents.
Yeah. Well, that's everybody's most unreliable reporters of fact to their parents.
It's a game of telephone that gets just messed up.
Children don't give them a run.
Jews had a little different experience.
We came over. My name wasn't.
We were fleeing. Like no Jews ever go back to the old country to see.
No, there's no old country. If we went back there, they'd kill us. We are not welcome.
Yeah, right.
Like my wife is Italian. They can go back to Italy, to the village, to the house, and see. I mean,
really,
they have and Irish people do the same thing.
What's your ancestry?
Irish. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have
some idea. Go right to where your great grandparents were born.
So my last name's Farrell, but it used to be O'Farrelly. So then I guess somehow they got rid of the O.
Any temptation to change it back to the way it was supposed to be?
No, I haven't thought about it.
No, it's such a pain.
Yeah.
Like when it always amazes me when women get married and change their name. What a difficult thing it
and
is.
Then knowing half of them are going to get divorced, and then they're going to be faced with the dilemma: do I keep the name of the bastard I divorced, but I want to leave it the same as my kid's name, so I leave it. I don't want to go through all the trouble. Some go back, some don't. I mean, doesn't that seem like a huge pain in the ass?
Oh, huge! And you know what's funny is changing your ID, changing your credit card, all that can be done. It's a little bit of a pain.
Yeah.
Marriott. Virtually impossible.
You can't change it in Marriott. No, once you're in there, you are in there. It's like a fingerprint.
Steph is still Cervantes at Marriott.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about it because they I think now knock on you, but they're not betting on you guys.
That's right.
Marriott's going the other way. They've seen too much.
They're just going with statistics.
They seem to check into a lot of hotels when they're not with each other, which is true.
That is true.
Well, but Steph takes girls trips. You take business trips.
She just left. She's on a flight in about an hour.
Marriott knows. They see the writing on the wall. They got algorithms.
Big data,
The Marriott algorithm suggests you're in the tail end.
Where does STL bucket list go from here?
So,
like what's on the horizon? Because you seem like you're always building on it.
Yeah, we're going to other cities. We're going to go to Kansas City. That's in the process right now. We're working with a girl out there to expand. We see that Kansas City is a huge growing market.
I feel like we should be a part of this.
There's a good law firm out there you could promote.
Yeah, I feel like we're a good part of this because we're Kansas City and St. Louis.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's more St. Louis? I hate to say it because he's right here, but I mean, honestly, what's more St. Louis than Brown and Crouppen? I mean, I don't know that anybody... They may have heard of other firms, but I don't know that they associate any other firm with St. Louis the way that they do ours. Or am I just overstating?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're right. I mean, I've known you guys always. I mean, I know we've talked even before, like right when we started STL Bucket List, you guys were a big part. We used to have an office at Spark. I know you guys have been up there a couple times.
Yeah.
And I saw you guys over there. But no, I mean, that's what I think the goal is. And I think the goal is just to build our business and build our marketing company. We want to be one of the premier marketing agencies in the Midwest. So... however long it takes to get there, we're gonna keep going.
I mean, honestly, just because I know living in this.
Look at the love, like
that is.
Yeah, they really put.
Can you get a nice shot of that? Look at the way the tomatoes are laid side by side. Nothing's mealy, nothing's green.
It's not thrown together like somebody
and the
placed those very
so
deliberate
seasoning at the end.
They really do a nice job.
I mean, listen, I hope we're living in an age where something of really good quality like this can be replicated in different cities. And
this is like an old world sandwich maker.
A guy I haven't had a hope in 2 decades.
A guy with goggles like a jeweler is sitting there.
With one of those things when they're detailing. Yeah.
Well, haven't you ever seen those like super fancy restaurants where they'll be assembling the dish with
my father,
tweezers?
My father could look at a stone and tell if it was a real diamond.
Really?
That's a gimmick.
No, I think they can. I think it's very easy if you know how to do it.
Thank you, sir.
To the naked eye, you think it's easy?
No,
now, I used to be the host.
Oh, he had a loop.
I was the host for a couple of years of Taste and See Kansas City.
Okay.
We did over 100 episodes, me and the co-host out there, trying different restaurants and going to different attractions.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you're going to have a good time out there.
Yeah, I like
Kansas City is really, they have been on the rise now for the last decade at least. and they're starting to get some major attractions. And of course, they're getting the World Cup qualifiers in 2026, which I think is just unbelievable.
Yeah, the Chiefs
we're
have done a
having
good
that.
job putting them on the map. Taylor Swift's done a good job putting them on the map.
Chiefs
It
3 out
seems
of
like-
5 Super Bowls, and now the Royals have advanced in the playoffs and will be facing my Yankees in the next
It
round.
seems like the rest of the country is starting to see Kansas City as the city in Missouri, not St. Louis.
Not
sadly.
starting. That's been going. If
It's
you
been
travel-
trending
I was
that
just
way.
there, and I think St. Louis, maybe because I know St. Louis more in the neighborhoods, but I was driving through Kansas City, and I was like, wow, St. Louis is bigger, and it feels more. But that's because I know the neighborhoods.
But if you travel and watch local television in other cities, the city they list on their maps is Kansas City.
it is
That's
now in
something.
Missouri instead of St.
Not
Louis.
St. Louis.
Wow.
now,
It's
We're-
smaller, but that makes it easier for them to kind of do what they're doing. But it does feel like a little bit of a sort of early Nashville, early Austin kind of.
Young people moving there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And talk about a sports team.
Exactly.
The Chiefs just are. I mean, my
and,
God.
and the Royals, you gotta say, I mean, they're in the
good sandwich.
playoffs. They had a great year.
But the
which
Chiefs
sandwich is
really-
this? Which
Some
one is this?
sort of
This is
roast beef,
buttery,
maybe?
soft roast beef.
Yeah.
This is a high quality roast beef sandwich.
How do you?
I don't remember which one this was
They must
on the
be
menu.
making some of these meats on prem,
Wouldn't that be something?
On what?
On premises.
on premises.
The turkey, like they smoke it overnight or something.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you,
I like this
they're doing
sandwich.
something special. No, we had that already. This one's roast beef. Yes, this is
Oh,
the
that is-
Wagyu roast
Well, what
beef.
does a sandwich
and
like
it
that
is
cost?
buttery. $3,000.
That's right.
Worth every penny.
Man, Wagyu's everywhere though now. Every burger spot's a Wagyu. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
remember when Angus got big for a while?
Yeah.
You never hear about Angus.
That's
anymore.
the
What happened to Angus?
That's the American Kobe.
Yeah, I guess they said, they said it
it's
only has to
not
be a
Kobe.
certain percentage Wagyu to make it a Wagyu. So it could
But
be a
what
50-50.
makes it? But what makes it a rare?
1997.
What's a big boy?
The big boy, 29.98.
Oh,
Wait, what are
okay.
you looking at?
The
Are you on their website? You're not looking on DoorDash. The DoorDash prices are like shopping in the airport.
Yeah.
It is. They raise them.
But that's an expensive sandwich, so they're using good ingredients. But wait, you didn't see it. I cut these down.
They're big.
It was 29. Yeah, I mean, it was literally,
That's for
it's
a family
probably a
of 4.
3-foot sandwich. 18 inch?
18 inches.
That's a generous
Damn.
18 inch.
Oh, man, that's the John Holmes of sandwiches.
Yeah, it is. I feel like Brody's back in town.
Is he? Do you think he's still a relevant figure?
John Holmes?
Is he alive?
I don't know if he's alive. I don't know if he's relevant. I
Didn't
do
he
know.
murder
Do you know
someone?
John?
I don't know John Holmes.
He doesn't know.
He
John.
was a very famous porn star in the 1970s, known for his 13.5-inch member. And when they made a movie about his life, I forget which actor played him, but this is kind of fun. When they released the movie, you know how sometimes they'll do promotional items to kind of go with the release of something?
Yeah.
And they did a ruler that looks just like a regular ruler.
But it's 13
But it's 13.5 inches. And I thought, what a brilliant marketing
Yeah.
promotional item to go along with that. Was he the male star in Deep Throat?
I don't
Is
know.
that where he got his acclaim?
I don't know. I mean, Linda Lovelace's star.
Linda Lovelace was the star.
star shines so bright. I don't
It shined
know
bright,
if you can
and
tell them.
I think he may have been. You can look it up. I think he may have been the male.
And remember,
But you know, he was part of the Wonderland murders,
Right, that's what the movie was.
which was
Wonderland.
crazy. Yeah.
But remember,
I just don't
So he's
remember who
alive
played
still?
him.
remember,
I think so. Is he
male,
alive?
I don't know.
male porn stars were nothing.
Nothing.
They were disposable.
That's why it was
Nobody
such a
cared
big
about
deal
them.
that
Yeah, he
any
was
male
one of
porn
the
star
very-
to even become a name.
yeah.
Because how many in the history? Ron Jeremy, maybe, and that might have
Is he
been
in
more.
jail?
I think he is. I think he
Irv
was accused
Krupin.
of a lot of things. Irv Krupin, your older brother.
Yeah, my
Irv.
older brother.
Yeah, I think
He had
they're
a
all
But that was
small-
that was in this that was
Yeah.
in the
Some very
Yiddish
niche
the Yiddish
stuff.
porn theater in the
His
Lower
star-
East Side.
His star burned bright, but just momentarily.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. The
Yeah,
literal
no.
flash in
No,
the
I
pan.
say that he'd hate
No, but I
that.
think
I
they're still
apologize,
disposable,
my
though.
brother.
I mean,
Is
as you
Ron
guys know.
Jeremy in prison? I think he might be.
That's it. So you didn't know what you were getting into. He's like, I'm going to come on. We'll bite a few sandwiches,
Why
talk
would
about some
he-
hot spots in St. Louis, and these guys hit you with
Talking about
aliens.
Ron Jeremy.
Unfit to stand trial due to incurable neurocognitive decline, released to a private residence in November of
Oh, he
2023.
is faking it, please. He had his whole life, he was out and about doing nothing. The second he's accused of horrible things, now
No,
he can't go anywhere.
He's probably been accused of horrible things for many, many years.
Really, he was
Yeah.
dipping and dodging.
You know,
Now he's
here's what I don't understand. Explain this to me.
Hit me.
2 names.
Ron Jeremy.
No.
No.
P. Diddy or Sean Combs.
Yeah.
And
Puff
then
Puffy Combs.
R. Kelly.
No, the famous
Michael
studio, the studio guy in
Weinstein.
well, Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein. All right, I know what you're gonna say.
These are
Partners
two
in crime.
exceptionally wealthy people who were being investigated and accused of multiple serious crimes for years. Never once thought, maybe I ought to liquidate a bit, because they were not indicted.
Yeah.
They could have done anything. They could travel. They could have done anything
They could have gone
wanted.
to a country without extradition.
Yeah.
Morocco, a great place, which
You
apparently
had that
has,
a little too.
Were you a little hasty?
Yeah.
Listen, I already know.
If there's one thing Terry's
got an
always
account
said
down
is
there.
you need a plan B. If you're going to do the things that I do, you need a plan B. You need a go
I
bag.
spent time in Morocco. It's a lovely Marrakesh,
Not by
a beautiful city.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is,
where he bought his wife.
why would those two? And I'm sure there's others.
It is weird
Why
that
would
we're
they
bad
have
people.
waited?
Yeah, you guys are fine.
Sean Combs.
makes no sense.
Jeffrey Epstein
Unless
too.
it's just an admission of guilt and they didn't want to have what would be
No,
perceived
but
to be
you
an
can
admission of guilt.
secretly set up, when you have that kind of money,
Yeah.
you take $50 million, you do what you got to do over there, especially now with Bitcoin. It would be so easy.
Yeah.
But why wait?
I don't
So
know.
wait, did all their assets get
Because
seized?
now-
so P.
now,
Diddy's
now it's
assets
too
are all
late.
tied
They
up.
know they already have them.
They're being held without
I think
bond.
he
now
was
they're held.
surprised. I think everyone was a little surprised
How quickly
that,
it
well,
happens.
no,
But he
that,
knew the truth.
that he didn't get out on bail.
Well, but he also knew.
He knows. Well,
he knows his
what he's-
situation.
for sure.
I don't
but
know why
you
the hell he
think-
went to
But
left.
even
Here's
getting-
why. Because I think.
But once you're charged with a crime and you're out on bail,
Yeah, then you're done.
you're in the system.
Right.
So
Yeah.
in other words,
Everyone's looking for you.
know,
You
your
can't travel
passport
freely.
is being
I've got a plan for that.
regulated. I mean, everything.
There
is,
was, when we were
I
in
don't
Alaska, I
understand.
thought about this. We were in Alaska this summer, and there's this train that it's a scenic train ride you take. And at one point in the train ride, they say, "You see that road right next to the train? That's Canada." And I'm thinking, okay, if you ever need to, you get somebody picking you up right there.
Yeah.
You jump off this train because it's slow moving.
And
You
just
could
open.
easily get off. You get to that road. Somebody's there. You're in Canada.
Let me
Once
tell
you're
you,
in Canada, you're
doesn't
gone.
want you there.
No,
They
but
don't
you
want-
can.
they don't
but
want
once
you
you're
there.
out of the U.S., I think.
You don't think Diddy could have drove his boat from Florida, from Miami? Isn't he in Miami?
He had a big plane. Wasn't he, as a matter of fact, about 3 months ago?
They thought
when it
he had run.
I thought they said
They thought he had
his
fled.
plane was in
But
somewhere
I
in
think
the
he
Caribbean.
wasn't on it or something. But do you think that he knew what he
Diversion.
did
And
really?
do you think you could jump out of a train at almost any speed and not
Yeah.
be seriously?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you can if you jump high enough.
How are you going to jump high?
I don't
You
think
just
Both Alaska,
jump
you
really
jump into the
high.
snow.
What do you mean
Jump in
jump?
the
How high could you jump?
I don't know, 3
Yeah,
4
foot.
feet. No, but what
feet.
about Sam? You said he's got a huge vertical leap.
Sam, but it's like 5 feet.
You know, I have
it's
some
not
friends who
like-
jumped off a moving train and all got hurt pretty bad. But,
Well, yeah, that's
but they were
because you're
fine.
not landing in soft, in
be
water.
snow.
You're
You'd be
landing on a
landing in the
hard
snow.
Yeah,
surface.
but
Like,
this
who's
was
gonna
in this.
land
I don't know
water?
that it.
You're
Wait,
gonna
first of all, I
jump
don't
off
think
a plane. What, a train off one of these big giant
Yeah, you can't
things?
do that. Yeah, you can't jump off.
I was
Why
on
were
the
they
train. I
jumping
felt
off a-
like
Why
I could
didn't
jump
you
off.
just
jumping off a
leave
train?
To get
before
to
he was
Canada.
It's not bad that
indicted?
Diddy didn't
To
leave.
escape.
Yeah,
You
well, we
think
just
that
think
he
it's
should,
foolish. It's not like
Would
we're
you-
rooting
you
for
would've
Diddy.
ran?
I'm rooting for justice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we were in his shoes,
That's
we'd all
right.
be in
Yeah.
Morocco
You
right
know,
now.
it's
No, I
surprising
would run
that,
too.
like,
Yeah.
You know
remember,
what, though?
Diddy
But there-
wants to be
but there
free.
is-
Exactly.
Forget about our opinion.
There is
You
a
would
little
think that he
like
would
in
have
Break-
some
Hold on,
for.
we got two
Like in
conversations.
Breaking
He's got-
Bad,
Sorry, go ahead.
you wanted Walter White to somehow escape.
Right,
Yeah.
sure.
There's something about people.
But we root for the villain in television.
We
I don't
do.
think we root for the villain
Listen,
in real life.
we can all agree that
Well,
Diddy, if he
47%
did
of
it,
the
should
country,
go
I
to
guess,
jail,
roots
should
for
not
the villain.
escape. But Diddy would want to escape. And so all we're saying is putting yourself in that circumstance.
Canada doesn't want Diddy.
You have hundreds of millions of dollars. You did something terrible. Your choice is set up a plan B or rot in prison. You're going to set up the plan B, and it just doesn't make sense.
And
It's just not very
And
bright.
you know what I
and
think
you
happens?
pull the trigger on Plan B way before you
But don't you
normally
think,
would
though,
think.
Harvey
You don't think
Weinstein-
I've got a bag at home with cash and a
A
passport
go
in
bag?
it?
You know, I've been working on my go
Yeah,
bag.
he does. He's got a thing with $87
I
in
am.
it.
The only I'm not going to.
87.
I don't think I'm going to bring the split flask.
Since what happened in Asheville, I've been
Yeah, yeah.
putting
Too big.
together a list for my go bag.
Really? How many? It's
happened in
cash
Nashville?
and cash,
What?
guns, and a passport.
What happened?
Asheville?
Oh,
What happened?
Asheville.
Oh,
Yeah.
Asheville. I think you said Nashville.
Terrible.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
thought you said
but
Nashville.
Harvey Weinstein and Diddy, don't you think what happened is there was so much celebrity and money and arrogance
Maybe.
that they did not think of. I'm not saying it wasn't a crime and wasn't horrible, but like it never even crossed. You know how there are
Look.
crimes and then there are crimes. Like you probably speed on your way to work. You're not thinking, oh my God, I'm committing. I feel like there almost was so much arrogance
No, you
and
probably- I mean,
sicko-
Let's see how well you know me. What is my singular favorite part of the entire P. Diddy story? Everything that's come out in the news, everything that's been done.
I
What
would
singular
assume-
thing is just my absolute favorite?
I would assume it's the baby oil.
Yes, it is about the baby oil. But to me,
the videos and memes associated
no,
with
no,
the
I haven't seen those. But what I know is this: they find 1,000 bottles of baby oil. His lawyer, in an attempt to be clever, comes out and says, he shops at Costco. He likes to buy in bulk like so many Americans.
That was so good.
I like that Costco came right out and said, we do not sell baby oil. He did not get
Wait,
it at
Costco
Costco.
came out?
He
Oh, I
did.
didn't see that.
They put out a statement, and I'm like, good for you, Costco. Costco's going, don't let me, I'm not scapegoating.
Were they
You're not scapegoating Costco.
Were they used bottles?
No,
Or just unopened, like
they
in
were
case-
1,000
baby
bottles
oil
of
was-
baby
there
oil.
are a lot
I
of
think
theories.
the kind that you use.
The mainstream kind.
It was
For,
baby oil
pleasure.
and lubricant, they said, but I've seen theories that it was not, and it was actually like GHB or another liquid drug. They're just not sure. I
but
don't
you know,
All I
But
know
to
is
your
that
point, though,
Costco
that-
shut that
that
down.
was
Like,
so
don't
good.
put your baby oil on me.
So they made a social media post.
They
or
went out
Yeah,
there. It
but-
was everywhere.
It was
Costco's
so
like,
good.
wasn't
His lawyer-
us.
Did you see his lawyer? He's like, he lives near Costco. Like, oh, well, 1,000
he
bottles.
likes
Like
to
he
buy in
shops at
bulk.
Costco.
First of all, these are not. I don't even know how big these
Yeah, I
bottles
would
are
like
because
to
when
know
I'm
how
thinking
big-
about 1,000, like if you were going to
maybe
buy
it's
that
a
much
little
oil,
bit- maybe this small.
but even so, why get so many
Who's-
small ones?
Wait, what would you? You're him. You need a lubricant. We won't
Yes.
discuss any further why you need it. Do you think he's going to reach into next to his bed and wants to pull out something the size of a
No, but
of
you
a
like the small
magnum
to-go
of
one.
champagne?
No, but I think what he's the
a
kind that
little bitty,
no,
little bitty
yes, I'm
thing.
sure it's the small ones. He's
And I'm
the
sure
kind
they
that's like,
come in
I don't know
big
when I'm going to
case,
need it,
but I have it
But
on
I
me.
want to make sure that I have a baby oil option every room of my house, every car that I drive. I need to be able to turn,
Right, but I bet
and
they're
within
small.
an arm's
I bet
length,
they're
I need
little
my
s-
baby oil.
I saw somebody do the math, assuming they're regular 20-ounce bottles like this, which they probably
Or a
were.
normal
They probably-
bottle.
That it was like half a ton of baby oil. In
I mean,
weight.
he's anticipating a lot.
What is he? How many of his cases
yeah.
are sheer accusation by people, men, women, whoever, that he took advantage of them? In other words, I wonder.
I think all of them.
How
No,
much,
I think that's sort of the
how much
leading belief.
objective
We don't know yet.
third-party
there's
sort
more
of
coming out.
evidence
Well,
there is.
there's so much every day. It seems
but
to
when
be.
they-
They're just
because-
this is an onion.
But when you have a person who's very wealthy, I believe the idea that people don't see him as an opportunity to make a quick payday and a large payday is not something that wouldn't be operating under those, with just the fact that he's a guy who's well known, he's in the rap music business, he's got tons of money. And he has, I would think
yes,
you would
there
be
are
hard.
But let me say this. That was my
Some of
defense
them
back when the
are.
Bill Cosby thing went on.
Yeah.
We said the same thing, and I said, if I was a dishonest person who is willing to do and say anything necessary to get a guilty person off, and I'm not that person, but if I were that person, I thought,
Is that person?
there you go. Well, that's between him and I. I thought that what would have done the trick for Cosby, and I think it's sort of like what you're talking about with Diddy, is you need one person to make huge allegations with detailed stories and everything so that it splashes all over People magazine and everything else.
You mean preemptively be the
No,
first
and
person
no,
out?
and then you
you
could
discredit
prove
the
them.
one
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
You just have the one person turn out to be a total gold digging liar. Because what'll happen is everybody will then throw away the valid claims. They'll all say, you know what, he's right. There are people targeting the uber wealthy. This person, we all believe them. They were on People magazine, and then they were totally discredited, and everybody would throw
Here's
the
the
baby out
problem.
with the bathwater.
Apparently,
baby oil out?
They make it sound like
They're throwing the
Diddy's got-
baby oil out with the bathwater.
They make it sound like he's got tapes of a lot of these.
That's
going to
heard.
be very
Now,
hard.
let me ask you, Andy, because you have an opinion
No,
on this.
I don't- I don't
Let
tape
me ask
any
you a
of it.
question. We can all acknowledge that at the bottom of this, it may be that he's a supervillain.
Yeah.
But what blame, if any, do you give to the other people that were aware of this and did nothing to stop it or come forward? This goes beyond Good Samaritan laws. If he showed videotapes of these type of activities going on, what obligation would you put upon those who saw this and did nothing?
Well, that's probably how
Were
he
they on his
got
payroll?
caught.
They were on his payroll, maybe?
I think that, I think if you see something that horrible, I think you say something. Have you seen these things? And I don't know what the truth is. There's a lawyer who I think is a reputable lawyer, I think maybe in LA, who claims he has like 250 other people with allegations. And he and many people have said this, that the list of villains.
Oh, that guy.
in this,
He's
the
long
list guy.
and famous. But
but he is saying it is going to shock you.
Or don't
who
you
else
think?
is involved.
But now listen, they said that about
Big
Jeffrey
names.
Epstein
said
too, and we
Epstein
never
was
saw anybody go down.
Yeah, but I think this is different than Jeffrey Epstein because I think Diddy seemed to be a little. Epstein did it on an island, away from everybody.
Yeah.
And without cameras. Diddy seemed to have
Well,
done it in New
we don't-
York
we
and
don't
LA
know.
and
We
Miami
don't know.
with
this is
cameras.
bad.
House parties of people he didn't
This
know.
is bad.
Let me say something.
Yeah, I think it's gonna get bad.
Just interesting things I find interesting, and not things I necessarily believe. The idea at one time in America of successful young men going to sex parties was something that a lot of men aspired to have happen to them. I wonder, it's not illegal, is it? Let's say I have a party.
Wait, should we mute
Wait,
the mics
if you
for a
have
second?
a bunch of if they're just consenting adults,
And I have
Yeah.
a number of
But that's not what
consenting
happened.
adults. Well, we
No,
don't.
but wait, he's
we
setting
don't
up a
know-
premise.
We don't know what
He's
happened.
setting up a premise.
And I also think it's very difficult to tell ages of a lot of people. Young people look like young people.
Yeah.
You know what
Do
I
you know
mean?
what happened at these freak-offs?
No, I never attended.
Am
What-
I going to? No. So I think the problem with these the
Not
allegations
just-
were that he was drugging people to keep them obedient and unable to leave. He was beating them. He was imprisoning them and tying them down. Like, it sounds really bad. There are allegations that maybe he was like sex trafficking people from other countries.
Yeah, let's not
Like-
equate this to a
like-
Tea Party in the
and that-
70s.
and that-
He was enslaving people
that
and
is-
drugging them.
No, and that is not.
now,
that is not
allegedly.
a sex orgy.
Right. No, this is not
what
a
I'm
good old
saying
fact. This
is I could see a
No
sex
innocence.
orgy being totally legal.
Of course they are.
And all
they go on all the
consenting.
time.
Yeah.
Ask this guy. STL bucket list. It was on his bucket list, and now he's taking it
We
off the
didn't
list.
talk about that. Is that no? I mean, so
I think that's legal.
Yeah.
But
If it's consenting adults, but you
right.
can't drug people,
And
then
we're
they
not-
can't
so what is
consent.
that?
Allegations,
No, no.
so he's under rape
But-
charges?
but just-
Or
I think
raping,
child
drugs,
trafficking.
child-
I mean,
But-
I think
I mean,
sex
Poor
trafficking.
Justin
Well, the
Bieber
Justin
and
Bieber-
Usher and
let's
stuff.
say-
I
but
mean, I
let's
feel
say-
terrible for these
Let's
guys.
say you were a celebrity.
Yeah.
And you were invited. You would really have no way of knowing.
Oh, you know.
Well,
Wait.
no.
No,
You wait.
but you know
If
where the
you're at
door
the
is.
They bring out a
Wait,
dazed teenager, you know something's wrong.
Could
Right,
you,
and you leave.
Could you tell the difference between a legal orgy and an illegal thing like
think you
this?
could
Yes,
tell.
I
If
believe
you
you
were just a
absolutely
guy.
could. Yes,
Yes, I think if
absolutely
people
could.
Well,
are
I don't know that you
drugged
could.
and
I believe you
and
absolutely
tied
could.
I'm
down.
sure,
Yeah.
but it could be that all those things were happening prior to
Yeah.
it to get the. So I'm saying a person could have attended
Wouldn't
that.
matter if it was prior
and
to
would-
it.
would
You're
have
not
never-
going to be on these tapes.
No,
right?
no, would have never.
Okay, good.
No, and would have never known that part of it.
Of course, yes. Is that possible?
I would
of
think
course
it's.
it is.
I think not only possible. I
But-
think most
No.
likely.
But you've always heard
I don't
people
think so.
kind
Even
of
I-
make
yeah, I don't
jokes
follow that at all.
about,
It's
I'm not
Diddy's
going to
parties.
a Diddy party.
Exactly.
and
There's
so I
songs
think,
about it, for
I think
Christ's
people
sake.
knew.
Well, not to me. I never never go to a
Yeah, but
Diddy
you also
party.
weren't invited.
No. Well,
You're too old.
just once.
They like them in those prepubescent
But
years.
but I do think that
No, actually, I'm very desirable because I don't put great demands on it.
okay. Let's So what
You
is
are
the future
easy.
of STL bucket list?
Well, we're definitely not going to any Diddy parties. I think
That's good. Do you ever, obviously a lot of recommendations are made by STL Bucket List.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you guys telling people to avoid something?
So we actually try to, I mean, we get messages and we'll do private, but as far as the public facing, we actually don't do any negative.
No
What's the
negative.
point?
Yeah, we don't. There are places
keep
we
places
won't
in
post.
mind.
Well,
What if they're throwing a Diddy party every
Well, if
night?
they're throwing a Diddy party,
Then
we
maybe
might-
you'll warn
No,
the
but like if
public.
you go to a place and you don't particularly enjoy it, do you just then ignore it? Do you lie, or do you just say, this wasn't our cup of tea?
So a lot of times we'll post about it and we won't write the same things we write, but we say, hey, check this spot out. They have great beer, but maybe we don't talk about the food.
You
or
try to
whatever.
find the
Yeah.
positive, and then you
They have
still
great
decide for
windows.
yourself.
They have great windows. They have a great patio. But I think that we don't do anything political. We don't do anything negative. And we just try to shine a bright light on St. Louis. And I think that that's what people want. That's what people need,
And there's plenty of good stuff.
Yeah.
Have you done Carl's Drive-In?
Carl's Drive-In we've been to. Yeah. Carl's Deli was another sandwich shop.
we
that I
did,
wanna
we
talk
did, we
about.
did Carl's Deli.
Yeah.
We've started
Beautiful
eating at
pastrami
Carl's
sandwich.
Drive-In
Yeah.
with some regularity again. I used to eat there a lot when I was
They have a
younger.
great burger there.
My kids love it. It's such a great
Right
place.
down the road from
And the
Capriotti,
root beer.
whatever this place
The
is.
great root beer.
Capriotti's.
It's this great, like,
root beer.
draft root beer.
In
a
beautiful
big
location.
barrel.
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, it sort of has that old feel. You could take pictures of it now, and you wouldn't even know what decade you were
Exactly. I
in.
love it.
I enjoy
I
that.
meant to ask you. Did you watch that? This is totally unrelated, but I keep.
That's all
looking.
right.
Did you watch the Rumble in the Jungle, which was in 1974? And if so, did I?
Wait,
That would have been the rope-a-dope fight between Foreman and
Ali.
the one down in Africa.
I think
Where was that? Zaire?
Yeah.
I think
They
I
paid
watched it.
big
And
money to have
Like,
that.
is that the kind of event that back then was it so big that everybody was? It was
Ali,
like
Honestly, I don't remember.
Really?
But I have a memory of the fight, so I could have watched it, but I've seen it so many
If you
times.
haven't watched the documentary "When We Were Kings," which is all about that fight, spectacular.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
So everybody
good.
Was that
world
the
had that
HBO
on TV.
one?
Yes. Yeah.
It was short. It was like an hour long,
Yeah,
right?
fabulous.
Oh, you know what's
really
also
great.
a
So
good thing I
interesting.
saw just as a recommendation is Monsters, the
the Netflix on the Menendez brothers. How was that?
very interesting.
I'll bet.
Now, they were upset with it, but then somebody came out and said that they shouldn't be because they actually made them more sympathetic, especially to these young, soft generation that is all, oh my God, these poor guys were abused, believe the victim.
Well,
it's okay if they
well,
kill their
I mean,
parents.
if
We
the-
lived through it.
if
Our
the-
generation,
if the-
and let me tell you, they were monsters.
If the parents were anything like they're portrayed, they were just terrible, horrible people.
And I guess when you're 25, it's different than when you're, how old were they? 15?
They were, in their
I mean,
late.
they came
I
from high
think-
school.
Yeah.
Are they wealthy now?
Well, they're still in jail.
Oh, they are.
They are still in jail. They
For
are.
how much
They are
longer?
trying to get out. No, they're in jail.
Like life?
No, they have the opportunity for parole, and I think they're eligible for it coming up soon.
No, I thought they
got tried as
never. No
adults?
parole.
No, that's the sentence they got. Life
Good.
with no.
We don't
what
want
are you
it.
doing?
You know what? They both got married though. Once they were in jail.
I have a gift.
They're both married.
You have a gift for who?
Yes, for you, and I think
Oh.
you'll understand when you see it.
Okay.
It's for a very specific purpose.
It looks like a
but I'm
t-shirt.
trying to fix something in your life that is.
Oh,
is
look at this solution
for your neighbor?
For your neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Of course. Meanwhile, at the firm, everyone has taken to calling him Alex.
you
Your
know,
neighbor
I
calls
got
you Alex.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I'll send you the clip. Yes, and we discussed it last week, but it's
I
been
like
going
that.
on
You know
too
what? We
long.
should get
I
those
let
for
it go.
everybody at the
He's
firm.
lived there for 5 years,
Right.
And so I can't say anything now.
Olga?
And we should tell
No,
everybody
he's
where every
probably about my
Monday
age.
until we
You know,
learn each other's
a
names.
friend of mine texted me right after. He said, "Remember, I coach his son, and my friend's name is Andy. Also, he said I coach his son. I'm happy to set him straight if you want."
Has he been calling him Alex too?
No, a nice
I
crisp
thought maybe
Andy.
that's
He
what
said.
Oh.
You heard it and it pissed you off. You're like,
No,
oh.
I didn't hear it. He just told me.
Man.
He just.
Share the shirt.
He just.
I brought you guys some gifts too. I got some hats.
Oh my God! This
So
is
we were talking about the hot salami, but this is a collab I did with Alex over there with the STL bucket list logo and that hot salami.
Oh, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
So this is
nice.
an innuendo. You wear this hot salami to a Diddy party.
There you go.
and I'm-
Oh God! Yeah, your dance card will be full in short order.
Yeah, but that green, the baby
wear that
oil is
hot
really
salami
going to
to,
stain up
Yeah,
that
wait.
green.
Let's all put one on
Yeah,
too. We'll put
yeah.
our hats on.
I wonder if I would have gone.
And
if I
even
was
though
invited.
this was not a
I mean,
Joy's episode,
if
we
I
are
didn't
huge
mention
fans.
it to
Hold on, just a second.
Wait.
Because I know the answer to that. Take the picture.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. He's still wearing the Jolly Roger.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God, he's bald.
Yeah. I got
So he
fucking
says,
Put that
I
back.
coach.
There you go.
Can we
I
curse
wait, here we
on
go.
Oh,
this
wait, here you
thing?
go. We
Not the heavy
never
curses.
decide.
Really?
Not the heavy.
God.
1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Hot salami.
And then if you guys want some stickers too, I got you
Oh,
some
thank you.
I
stickers.
want stickers.
My
You know
God,
what?
look.
I got a perfect place for the sticker. It's going right on the flask.
Right on the flask.
Give me
That's
your
what I do with
phone.
stickers. I put
me
them
my
on my
phone.
water bottles.
Oh,
I
I
like
like that
that.
too.
Oh.
We got to give him
Um,
here, give him my phone.
Yeah, because we didn't have a gift
We
for you.
didn't have
Go
anything.
ahead. You
Here.
want the new iPhone?
Yeah,
Here you go. It's a
yeah,
16.
yeah.
No, knowing
Speaking
him, it's a
of heavy
12.
cursing, the baby has really started cursing. And she
Well, I
knows
saw
it.
that.
We're joking.
Well,
Of
she
course we
laughs
have a gift
after
for
She
you
does.
as
The
our
other
guest.
day we were in the car,
What'd she
and,
say,
and she
fuck
said
again?
something.
Oh, pardon me.
She said, "I hate something," and I said, "Oh, that's not a nice word. Don't say that." And she said, "Is oh fuck a nice word?" And I said, "No, that's also not a nice
Your
word."
daughter said this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And she
Okay,
said,
Well, I guess that answers your
"Is
question about
mama a
cursing
nice
on the
word?"
podcast.
I said, "Yes, that's a nice word."
But you don't know. Here, where's my? Hand me your phone that
Here's
I
your
just
phone.
gave you.
Yeah,
We've got
you
a
can have your
problem.
phone back,
Here,
sir.
this
No,
is
it's
her.
yours now.
So she's this angel,
Yeah,
and
pretty.
she has discovered the F word,
Yeah.
and uses it liberally. So
I love how you're.
No, she doesn't do it that much, but she
Yeah, I love
knows.
that.
Like
There
every
you go.
time she'll
You'll see
say
it's gonna
it,
be on there every
like
week.
she
Yeah, that's
yeah,
acknowledges
she
that
laughs that she knows
she
it's
shouldn't
bad.
be
Yeah, of
saying it.
course.
Thank you guys.
Which I feel like,
We
and
should
I
set
hate
up
to
a
give her
meeting
too
to
much
talk about
credit.
stuff we
It
can do
does feel a
together.
little
100%.
smart.
Yeah, I think.
At
there's
least
a lot
there's
of
some
stuff.
hope.
You're proud of her.
She'll be a smart.
You know what? That's a
Psychopath.
nice color combination.
Yeah.
That green and white.
I think the
red on
baby
side, that
oil
pops.
won't show
Well,
too
with the
bad
red
on
the
it.
side, it's got the whole, the
Salami.
Italian
Hey,
colors.
in all the commotion, he was asking, if I had been, a year or two, whatever ago, invited to a Diddy party, would I have gone? And the answer is, I know you. Absolutely. And I'm
you
not
would've
saying you
gone
knew
too.
everything that happened.
You would have gone, but
We
you know what?
all
You
would
would
have gone.
But you would have walked out. I know you well enough to know as soon as you saw there was something wrong going
Well,
on,
wait, but
you
yeah,
would have
but
walked
he would
out.
have too. But I think
But hypothetically, you could walk into a party with a lot of glamorous kind of people, a lot of young women that you have no idea how young they are. They're not being tied up.
I
and
think there are
force
two
fed.
parties, though.
I mean,
There's an
well,
after party. I think
well,
that
that's
people
it.
leave.
If people,
You would've left before
if
that.
if I went to a
Unknowingly,
party
yeah,
and
right.
people
Well, the
were
white
being
party, Michael
beaten
Rubin does that now.
or
The white
injected
party
with
and all
drugs,
the-
that clearly I would leave. But just the orgy part of the party,
I don't think you would have been invited.
Well, and you
to
wouldn't
that
have been
part.
able to see much because I'm
Well,
guessing
yeah.
you'd have been in the bottom of that pile.
No, but I'm saying
I don't know why that's funny. It doesn't even
I
make
think
sense, but it's funny.
A lot of men, given the chance, would have gone to the.
I hate when he
straight
speaks for all of us.
orgy.
He doesn't speak for me,
Well,
folks.
you wouldn't. Oh,
Wait, hold on. Let me say this.
I would, out of
think you're-
curiosity, I would have gone. I would have
course.
walked out the second I
think
saw
you're-
somebody underage.
You're imagining.
How would you know?
The
'Cause they look too
logistics.
young.
They look young.
No,
You
that's
think-
that's an
do
excuse.
think a
You
heavily-
know when,
a
when you
heavily-
walk in, if
you
there's a
think
young person, I don't
heavily-
care if they're 18 or not. If they're too young, that's inappropriate.
Wait,
I
I'm going to
think-
disagree with that premise, but I think you're imagining the logistics of the. I think it's just a big party somewhere, and a lot of people are there, and you're not paying attention to anything because nothing weird is happening. It's a dance party. People are hanging out, whatever.
Right.
And then I
the
think
end of
there's
the
a
party.
back room
Yeah.
that you're never going to be invited to, and you'll never see it. But
I've learned-
thousands,
I've learned
tens,
about this.
hundreds of thousands of people have probably been to his parties.
asked, Andy, come on, we're going into the back
Yeah,
room.
where are we going?
here's-
Sure, let's go.
wait a second.
Yeah.
Here's
And then
what
you
I-
get
but-
back there and
then
you're
if
like,
you saw
but
whatever
here's-
you
But
saw,
here's
you
what I've
left.
learned.
Yeah.
Because I hear all these stories about people. I hear a lot of stories of people that have participated in some wild stuff, threesomes and whatever else.
Yeah.
And that's not my world at all.
Right.
And I always say to them, like, how does that happen? How did you all wind up? And they all tell the same exact story. They're the last remaining people at a party. Apparently, if you wait out a party and you're amongst the last three that are there, you're part of a threesome. That's how all of these end. And you know me, I tend to leave
First
parties
guy
very
gone.
early. I'm first out the
In a
door.
puff of smoke.
I'm like the Marines.
So you wouldn't be around for
Except
it.
in reverse.
No
I'm
danger.
never in the final three. But see, but nobody had ever told me this until recently. And even now, I just don't enjoy being in that environment long enough to wait out the rest of the crowd to make it to the bottom three. And what if the bottom three are the three of us?
I think that's the risk you run.
I'm not willing to take that risk. I'd
No,
rather
no.
be home and asleep.
But I think
I wouldn't subscribe to that.
My only point in all of this is the idea of the worst thing a man could do would be wanting to go to an orgy type of party.
We got to shut him down. I think.
Is ignoring reality. That's all. I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Hey, I got to follow up on a previous
Terry, I wanted
story.
my mom to listen to this episode. I can't send that. We got to put this on OnlyFans. now.
You're not going to believe what happened to me the other day.
It really took a turn, didn't it? Wait, something happened, Andy, and I think it's going to be clean.
No, a little
Okay.
bit. You remember
Oh,
the
God.
inchworm in my underwear?
The inchworm, yes, I do.
Okay.
Is that what you call them?
No, there
'cause
was
they
an
move
actual.
like an
I found
inch.
an actual live inchworm.
Oh, I thought that was your nickname for your member.
No, come on.
Come on,
It's a family show.
It's a family.
That's why I said member.
So, but I think
Two references
I felt
today.
it was a
Two
little
members.
forced, the joke. I'm standing in the pantry a few days ago,
Oh no.
and I feel a little tickle on my arm,
It's
and there's
another
another
inch?
inchworm.
I would move.
What? I don't know what's happening.
You have you're
I don't-
festering inchworms in your place. You've got an
well, first of all,
infestation.
when was the last time you ever saw an inchworm?
I was in nursery school. I remember it.
Or,
I remember
or it was
thinking,
that little
that's neat.
big wheel kind of thing.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Does that not count?
I could not believe it. I've never seen it. I can't remember
It was in
ever
your
se-
pantry.
No, it was on my arm.
You know what? I think you're going to have to move.
I don't know. I think I'm
You
bringing
got
them in
neighbors
from
that
outside.
don't know your name. You've had how many cars stolen?
Who's asking?
And now the inchworms.
Who are you, State Farm?
by
I'm
the
just
way-
saying.
By the way, a good movie to watch, Dark Skies.
That's right.
That's a movie?
Dark
It's a
Skies.
UFO movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And
UFOs. Here we
it is scary.
What's on that Costco receipt?
How do
Terry?
we? It's a lot.
baby
It's a
oil receipt.
lot
That's
of
a long-
baby
that's
oil.
That's where I was.
It was
That's
1,000
where I
bottles.
was. I told my wife, oh, by the way, to everybody out there, get toilet paper.
Okay.
No,
I
don't
just
get
went-
toilet
Can I say
paper.
just went-
Don't
if
say
if
that.
there
Don't
are any
listen to
UFOs
him.
and you're looking to abduct somebody, I will pay
went-
everything I have.
Wait,
Take this
I
man.
just went to
Hold on.
Costco.
This is the guy.
to buy toilet
No.
paper.
You're the
Costco
problem.
has no
You're
toilet
the
paper.
problem.
Toilet paper.
You
What
know
do you
why?
need it for? You said
Oh,
use
my
3
goodness.
squares a day.
Wait,
I have it on
Costco
video.
has no toilet
I'm
paper.
a married man.
Because
My
fools
wife
like
uses
you
makes a
buy it all.
boxing glove.
Yes,
They buy it
don't
all.
buy toilet
You've
paper.
thrown
The
off
fact
the
is,
natural
it
course of
started.
supply
I
and
didn't
demand.
start it.
You don't need to. Just stop it. Don't promote it.
He's a hoarder.
Don't
Don't
get
listen to
toilet
them.
paper.
Not
Get
promote-
toilet
get toilet
paper.
paper
No.
as needed.
Sorry.
No, write a letter to the longshoremen telling them to settle.
Yeah, or may I suggest dude wipes? As a, for a
wipes.
Or a
cleaner
bidet.
experience.
What are those?
Dude wipes?
Yeah.
They're flushable.
Whoa,
single-use
first of
wipes.
all, no such thing.
It is.
It isn't.
The key is you just got to do one at a time.
Nope.
So you got to
No,
flush
it's
it
one,
multiple
at,
times?
it's one
No.
at a time.
No.
You don't want to put more than one in the toilet at once.
There was, and I don't remember where it is. It was a documentary I saw.
There was a documentary
about
on
the
this?
people who work in the sanitation plants, and they
sure,
said
that got a lot of viewership.
They brought you and showed you what happens to the flushable
And what
baby
happened to
wipes.
it?
Yeah.
They destroy the systems and cause enormous
Well, these ones
problems.
supposedly, dude wipes supposedly disintegrate.
Yeah, they're supposed to disintegrate.
They don't
Right
disintegrate.
under your
Yeah.
fingers,
They don't.
They're like
unfortunately.
water. They're like a water wipe.
Oh, speaking
Nice.
of water, I got a whole house water filtration system this week. My water tastes really good.
Really?
I was
For your
surprised.
showers too. All three?
Everything.
Yeah.
And then a
Wow.
reverse osmosis.
What's that called? Do you know the
Drinking
brand
water.
called?
You had to do it, right?
yeah.
Because you had hard water. And it was
Everybody
messing
does.
up your pipes. You were
I think
getting mineral
everybody does.
deposits.
We are. I think everyone has that to some extent.
Yeah.
But man,
Where does one get a household of water filtration
there's
system?
there are a lot of them. You
At
got to
a
be
Diddy
careful.
Party.
I got a coupon at a
He
Diddy party.
gives them away. That's why you want to go to those
It's a
parties.
party favor.
I don't think I got one. I got a T-shirt and a hat. But
Next time it'll
100
be a water filtration system.
Water
So
filtration.
you're saying you've
baby
heard
oil
the
proof of
expression,
purchases.
Diddy Party years ago.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's in songs. It's like Justin Bieber had
That's
a whole
fake.
song talking about
I
it.
don't.
that's
I
fake.
don't.
Kanye
I
had
don't
a
that's
song
not
about
real.
it too.
I don't listen to Justin.
That's fake.
Bieber.
Is it really? It
Yeah,
sounded
yeah.
just
That's
like
AI.
him.
AI.
Freaking
I think
AI,
Kanye
man.
has a song about Diddy. Party
You know,
or something
at
like
what
that.
point I mean, AI has gotten so good.
It's terrible.
You literally, honestly can't trust anything. Are you even here right now?
Have you seen? See, I've
I'm at a
never
Diddy party.
seen. When you look at the lips, I've never seen an AI representation of a person that I couldn't tell.
You
I'm
haven't
not
yet?
saying
Oh, wait.
there is.
Yes, you have, but you couldn't tell.
Well,
Right.
maybe,
It's like a
maybe.
toupee. Everybody
But wait,
thinks they can
so
spot a
does that
toupee. You can
mean-
spot a bad
you remember
toupee.
how Hollywood was always saying, someday we're going to be able to make a new
Yeah.
Elvis Presley movie,
Yeah. I think
and
they
you
can do
won't be
it.
able to tell.
Yes,
I think they can do it. I think they can do
You know
it
what the
now.
flaw in the
And
logic
they've
was?
never done
Here's
it.
why. Here's the flaw.
What?
Nobody wants a new Elvis Presley
Well,
movie.
Not an Elvis movie, but a Marlon Brando. But you still have his
nobody wants
family
that
and his
either.
estate. You still have
Nobody
to
wants
pay
a
them.
Marlon Brando movie.
Oh, I do.
Okay, but as a
Elvis movie was
novelty,
good.
I'd go see
somebody
it.
would
Elvis
make
movie was
one.
good.
A new James
Well, no, because
Cagney.
it would be very
or-
expensive.
If you could
Whatever
see a
it
new
is.
James Bond film with Sean Connery as Bond, I think people would go see
But
it.
they don't. I don't believe that was my point.
No, they
I
can
don't.
do it.
I don't. I've never seen it.
They can do it.
Well,
You know what I think you could do?
do it.
Selena. I think she still has a big enough audience alive.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, but she just didn't have
it's
much of a career.
it's a
I mean,
spam.
Because it was-
unfortunately, she died so young.
Right.
I mean, her living audience
Jennifer
would
Lopez
be.
had
they're
her
a little-
career.
Well, and let me tell you, and Jennifer Lopez,
She could come crashing
right,
down,
I was
too.
going to say, what did she know and when?
Oh,
Because
bite your
they were
tongue.
married.
Who?
Did he?
Puff Daddy.
She was married to him.
Yeah, they were together for years.
Oh, I
I don't know if
didn't
they
know
were
that.
officially married, but they were a couple for 5, 6, 7 years.
I feel like they were married. No,
They didn't
get
How
married.
many years were they together, though? It was a long time.
I mean, let's
10
put it
years?
this way: if a wife
She was a fly
married
girl,
to
right?
somebody, on Living Color,
She's had an
right?
amazing
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
But if you're saying she was married to him for 5 years,
Rosie Perez too.
I would think it'd be hard for her not to know.
Unless,
she'd have
unless
it
he
now.
developed these habits later on. But, you
or,
know,
or
these
else,
things.
if it's a lot of it is bullshit too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Listen,
a possibility.
I know, but it's probably
We do.
not.
We
I mean,
are.
there's
We are
lot of
purveyors
evidence.
of justice,
years?
gentlemen.
Yeah.
2 years, but
And you know what?
They were on the cover of everything so much it felt like more.
Oh,
but 2 years there, she had to have known
I
something.
hope that if even a fraction of this stuff is true, I hope he goes to prison forever and has a miserable time there. I love all the comments. Have you seen Suge Knight keeps coming out and is
Oh,
like,
yeah, I saw
"Oh,
that.
you are in trouble, Diddy."
Yeah.
Oh, my
He's
Lord.
saying that right now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's alive still?
Yeah, he's in
I
prison.
can
Still
never
in there.
tell who's
Then
alive
why
and
don't
who's not alive.
Where is Harvey Weinstein?
He's
You
alive.
would think he'd have a little trouble in prison.
I think
wouldn't
he's
you?
actually
Weinstein dead?
no, but he's on the brink of it. They say he's
So,
like
so you're
Epstein
saying you can survive
he
in
killed
prison
himself.
by being
Maybe.
really tough.
It
or
could have been
being
assisted
really
suicide.
weak.
I think so.
Oh, that's
Also known as
I
murder.
know which way I'm going with.
But, yeah, but when you see him, and I don't know if he's faking it, but he's probably like in an infirmary unit. He doesn't even look like he can.
Now, this may not be an
care for
appropriate
himself.
question, but let's assume there's a
Why
list.
stop now?
Let's assume there's a list, a
And-
P. Diddy list. Give me one name that you wish to God is on that list because you wouldn't mind seeing it take a fall, and give me a name that you'd be devastated.
Well,
if it was
first
on
of
that
all,
list.
I just don't want to cause you because we don't like to get political here.
not political.
And I think there's one name that we might all agree on.
No, that wouldn't be
the
my first choice.
name. That would be.
I would think, you know what? I will say
that
this.
would be your first.
I would
Okay.
say this. If without getting political, I think I can do that. I think a lot of people on the right would say they'd love to see Kamala, and a lot of people on the left would like to say they'd see Trump.
Okay,
on
but
that
let's
list.
take them out of it, and let's just
Yeah.
stick with actual celebrities that are in that world.
Right.
Because I don't know
we've
that.
disposed of the two.
Oh,
Yes.
I'd hate to see Tom Hanks on the list.
That would-
they
that would-
said-
that would be heartbreaking.
But I've seen his name being thrown around as
Well,
not
but
the
he's
nice
a
guy.
huge but
Yeah.
he,
I did
you
see
know,
that.
those people.
But it's
are-
on Twitter, the worst
Exactly.
place on earth. Who would I like to see on there? Nobody.
Well, who?
I can't think of
But
anybody.
who would you like?
But
would-
who's ripe for a fall? Who's if you saw it on there, you'd say, you know what?
Oh, Russell Brand.
Okay. Well, you don't like the guy.
No, I used to, but he's so arrogant. He's unlikable.
What about Will Smith?
You know
I don't
what?
want to see him on
I like
there.
Will Smith, though.
I like him, but
I'd rather see Jada than Will on
I
there.
like Will Smith.
I do like Will Smith.
There's
too.
something about him I like. I think what he did was stupid.
Yeah.
But I think he's.
I don't dislike him. I don't really care for Jada. I would rather see her on there than him.
So
I
does
mean,
everybody like Tom Hanks?
yeah, I like
Yeah,
him.
Does
he's
everybody
America's
like George
father.
Clooney?
I like George
George
Clooney.
Clooney's a nice
Oh
guy.
yeah, how
He's
could you
fine.
not?
Does everybody like
I'll tell you, I like John Travolta. I think he seems like a really nice guy. He's gone through so
I think
much
he's
in
a
his
little
life.
weird, but I think
So Terry, who would
everything
you
he's
like to see on the
overcome.
list?
Yeah, you had somebody in
Because you
mind.
had somebody in mind.
No, I did,
He
but
did, but that
it's
was,
political.
Trump.
Oh,
and
no.
I
That's it. That's boring. Come on.
Come on. Let's hear. Let's get a little joy here. Whose name do you want to?
who is
Just not that
really?
you just want to see him go through a little trouble.
John Holmes, is that who you were talking about?
That's
Was that
right.
his name?
No, yeah.
he's
What about like maybe
Your
Bill,
8th grade
maybe
math
Bill
teacher.
Cosby? I mean, Bill Cosby he was convicted, but then he kind of got out, dodged a bullet.
Yeah, but to him,
Wait, is he out now?
But he's already
Yeah,
his
he's out.
reputation's already gone.
Yeah. Well, if he's on the list, it's meaningless.
And wait,
Yeah,
they
of
never
course he is.
tried him.
Yeah.
No, he's free and clear and,
Why
and
didn't
done and done.
Billis?
Oh, so in other words, they actually overturned his
They did,
conviction.
and he's
Is R.
out,
Kelly
out and
Kelly's
about.
out of jail too?
No,
No,
I don't
he's in
think
jail.
so.
Doing
I think
somebody was like promoting something.
R.
He was doing
Kelly, it's a
show.
hologram then.
Okay, he's gone.
He'll be live from prison.
I don't think R. Kelly's getting out.
No, and nor
I don't
should
think
he.
any
Listen,
of these people get out.
Nor should they. Listen, I don't care how good their music is or how big of a celebrity they are.
Okay.
I mean, that's
So do you boycott
against their
people's
rules.
movies
Yeah,
and music when
no,
something
that's
happens?
the question.
I don't, because
You
I
don't?
separate
Okay.
the artist from the art.
Okay.
The art stands
Even
on
if
its
they get
own.
paid from it?
I can't.
No.
No, I don't care if they get paid for
No.
it. They're in jail. I just feel like
I don't believe that.
What don't you
what
believe?
you
I don't
separate
believe
the art
so,
and the artist.
So
I
You
don't.
don't know morality wise.
Wait, hold on.
I- no,
What
so you
Leonardo da Vinci was like. You just
But
appreciate what he
that's-
did.
No, but that's the whole point. I don't know.
That's why you
On
have to separate
I'm
the art
talking
from the
about
artist.
people that I do know.
But the question
and
is,
I think that
so
affects
Michael
the
Yeah,
Jackson,
so you don't
not
listen to
played in
Michael
your home?
Jackson or
No, I didn't have any real. I mean, listen.
He's the one who gets the slide.
I think
Everybody
he
listens
was.
to
Well,
Mike
because he was
Jackson.
never
I
convicted
think
of
the
anything.
only, and he was tried.
Right.
And he was.
Okay.
He was
so,
acquitted.
okay.
So-
They took R. Kelly off Spotify.
The
You can't even
remix
search
to
for him.
Ignition.
really?
Oh, that's good.
That's a hard one to give up.
Which
That's a
one?
good song.
The remix to Ignition. Nobody. That's the one.
such a good
that
song.
Everyone will boycott. No.
Wait,
What's that?
I'm saying I can appreciate somebody
It's
who
just
has
a
done
good song.
something
Yeah, I'm not giving it up.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it, but I can then
I know
say.
that. I don't know.
But like
But
you
because
won't. If
kids
the
have
song I believe I can
Okay,
fly
okay,
comes
hold
on,
on,
you
hold
turn it
on.
off.
There's mayhem.
no, but like
Hold
if you
on.
look it up, he got removed from all the playlists on
whose song
Spotify.
was
So you know
that?
when you're listening to a playlist, you get
Yeah.
like
Whose
suggested
song was
songs.
that?
I think you can
R.
still
Kelly?
search him on
Yeah.
Spotify.
No, I know.
So wait, back
No,
to
I'm
the main
just saying.
premise.
Kanye's back
Let's
on there.
go.
Kanye got canceled too. I don't know.
Do you not listen to artists who have clearly done terrible things?
See, I'm indifferent about that. I think I feel the same way as Ed. I think that you have to remove the art, but it does feel kind of weird if you're driving down the street listening to R. Kelly. right
How
now.
about this?
I gotta admit,
Is
it
it
does feel
fair to
weird.
say? Does it change what you think about the
So
art?
Diddy, I wouldn't play a Diddy
See,
song
I
right
see,
now.
Okay, but
that's the
now
thing.
let's take it
I
one
might
step
listen
further.
to it, but
Bad Boys for
I
Life's a good
don't-
song.
But I'd always have the negative thing
Yeah.
when I was enjoying the
what
song.
about this? And this is Diddy and Kanye are both examples of this. So if it's a song, and there are very few of these that Diddy produced and Diddy is on, okay, take that out. But what about the other people who are on the song, or maybe a song that Kanye produced for somebody else, so he's getting paid? Like, where do you draw the line, and why punish the innocent people?
You know why? Because this is an academic, hypothetical conversation.
Oh, I don't think it is at all.
Even though I connect. I connect the person with the song.
Yeah.
Do I think about it? If it's a song I like, do I listen to it and don't even think about the person and the crimes they may have committed? You know, I really don't think
Well,
very
but
much.
then that's the answer we're looking for, because I do think there are a lot
I don't
of
think
people.
about it that deeply.
But I do think a
You
lot
know
of
what I mean?
people do and
But
don't listen to those artists.
But if you ask me, what I think of the person, I think it has to bleed over to
so
the
you're saying
product,
it's
too.
okay to listen to the music.
I think you
Is
do.
there an
Okay to
example
listen
of
to
And
music?
it's
music.
okay, and it's,
You know me,
and it's
I'm all in
okay
favor of it.
to feel like the guy's a jerk.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and again, crimes are funny. You know, there's some crimes that are unforgivable, and you know, some that
Well,
are
that's
more.
very subjective.
Is there an
it
example
really
of an
is.
old time artist that you might have canceled? Because I know cancel culture is something new.
Yeah.
But
But there must have been a back
Well,
in the
remember
day, plenty of
Jerry Lee
scandal.
Lewis, who
Married a
married his
14-year-old.
Yeah, that was-
13-year-old.
that's pretty
Okay,
bad.
even younger.
And-
Even back then, that what was that like then?
Well, back then, I don't.
Information did not flow as freely
if
as well.
I am not remembering culture as
People
well
didn't
as
think much of it?
I don't think it was that
That's
big
crazy.
a deal.
No.
I mean, I'm not.
Because he actually had a marriage, and she acted publicly like a wife, and he wasn't like he seemed to have forced her
I
or
think
treated
Charlie
her
Chaplin
poorly.
had a very young spouse.
That-
One
well,
of his
didn't
spouses
Elvis Presley
very
wasn't-
young.
Yeah,
Elvis
she
Presley
was
was
14.
very young.
What
How
I'm
old?
saying is
14.
the
He was 18.
idea of having a
And eventually they got
relationship
married.
That's still
between an
crazy.
older man and a very young woman
might have been older
was
than that.
viewed much different than it is today.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones had dated this woman.
But then at
when
the
he was
same time, you
13
have
or
Roman
14,
Polanski, who can't come back to the U.S. because
But
he
that was
with a
later on.
teenager.
That was later on.
Early 70s, 1974,
Yeah, but these
75.
are only 50s, 60s. No, it's an
But that
an
would be
odd
wild
thing.
today, though, if a 22-year-old like just showed
But-
up to your
but we-
14-year-old.
No,
daughter's
look
house.
what happened to Wander Franco. I mean, it did happen in baseball, and he immediately, and he was smart. He got the hell, he pulled what these guys should have done.
Plan
He
B.
got the hell out of this country and went hiding in the Dominican somewhere.
Roman
But-
Polanski.
but
I mean, he
yeah.
was smart.
Right, Roman Polanski,
but
same
we
thing. And
would-
he's still winning Oscars for Best Director.
That's
and
so
he can't
crazy.
go and collect them because he can't step into
But
this country.
we are ignoring history if we ignore the fact that for much of history, the relationship between older men and very young women was part of of life.
We're ignoring history. I don't know
I'm
if it's
just
that,
saying,
but wait, hold
only
on.
because that's how that was
but
a
for
standard.
much of history, you didn't go to prison for murdering someone.
I'm not saying
Yeah, I mean,
why.
but things
I'm just
change.
saying things for a long time up until the 1940s and 50s and 60s. That's when it all started to change, and then it changed very quickly.
But that was probably more of a. That's when women's rights really started to.
There's a reason for it.
No, was
I'm
it
just
like
saying
that
it's a fairly recent development
in this country
in our
or
culture, in American culture. This vilification of an older man being
Rightfully
with a very
so.
young woman.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, wrong. It's what it is, and that's the standard now.
Yeah.
But like when I went to the University of Missouri, they had black and white bathrooms there.
Right.
When I went down, I remember taking a Filipino client to a appearance at a small town in Missouri. I don't even remember the town.
Wait. Oh, go ahead.
And on the courthouse lawn was a big stone and engraved people we lost in the war, and it had a whole listing of people, and then it had a listing colored, and they were all, and that was in the courthouse lawn,
Right.
and this was in the 70s, 80s.
But when was it put up, you think? In the 80s?
Yeah,
No.
I know the 70s.
I mean, it wasn't put up
because I
then.
was a lawyer,
Yeah.
and I didn't. I've been a lawyer since
Wait, but there
71.
were separate bathrooms at the University of Missouri?
At the University of Missouri, they were black, white, and colored. I'm pretty sure. I that's my memory. But this stone.
But that would have been
was,
what? 1960?
62, 63, 64. But the stone at the courthouse was in the 70s because I wasn't a lawyer.
Right,
till
but it
the
wasn't put there in the 70s.
No, but it was kept
still
there.
there.
It was
Right.
there. It was
but there's
displayed.
a difference between, I mean, horrible, but I see
There
it
may
as
be a
different as
different-
bathrooms
there
because you
may-
just
oh.
get a different sign.
Yeah.
Or take it down.
But I think there were still, I think it was like that.
So wait.
When
in those days, just the logistics of it, when there were separate bathrooms, did that mean everyone had 4 bathrooms?
I suppose. I don't know.
Men and women for...
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. And then, of course, in World War II, African American peoples couldn't be officers. I mean,
I just read?
The history. Things have changed dramatically since the 50s.
Yes.
I mean, almost unrecognizable.
Stephen, our producer here, is that what we decided your title was?
Yeah, I think he's.
He was
Let's hear
here
it
when
for
I
Steve.
received. I don't think we talked about this. I ordered, Ed, I told you this.
Yeah.
There was a book called The Truly Tasteless Joke Book. That
Blanche
when
Knott.
when
I
I
was
was
right.
a
I looked it up
kid
there.
in grade school, I am pretty sure it was in our school library, but if not, I'm 100% sure it was in the Clayton Library. And it was a joke book that every kid had, like everyone knew of it. And I remembered it being pretty bad and pretty racist. And so I ordered a copy on eBay. And remember, I was a kid. This was in the mid 80s. This book everyone had it. I was blown away by how racist it was. Like, there were jokes, and again, everyone had this joke book. Like, the punchlines in some of these jokes would be the N-word.
Right.
I
Yes.
mean, published, a mainstream book. It is, and when I look at that book, I can't think of one other, like, just single item that is a representation of how different
how
the
world's
world
changed.
is.
I mean, I was in elementary
such a
school.
short-
Everybody had that, and there were a million sequels to the book.
Yeah.
Chili Tastes the Jokes.
But
2,
I
3,
could
4.
not
But
believe
just one book and how
But the
different-
evolution.
And it was
but you should-
atrocious.
Yeah.
You
never heard of the
cannot
book.
believe,
Yeah.
and it's separated. Black jokes, Jewish jokes,
Polish
Chinese jokes.
That used to be a big thing.
Yes,
Polish
Polish
So then
jokes.
it would be punchlines. So you go to school the next day and be like, "Hey, I read
somebody
this in the
should,
book yesterday."
somebody
Yeah,
should
everyone
do
had
it.
the-
Everyone had it
had
at
the
school,
book
and nobody
at
had a
school.
problem with it.
I'm
Nobody
sure
cared.
somebody has done it, but if there's not, there should be a book on the evolution of the N-word. I mean, how it became what it was, to a time when I won't even say it when I'm alone in a room.
As it should be.
I'm
You
not
know,
even
I mean, I
comfortable
won't
with you
even-
referencing it. That's how
Although,
uncomfortable.
you know
like,
what? I would bet you could easily find a TikTok or YouTube video that takes you through sort of the historical.
I'm probably is, but I
evolution
won't
of it.
even say like I don't even like I get uncomfortable when someone says the N-word. I almost feel like there has to be something more distant from that.
I
Like
bet
the
you
word
that-
formally
the bad
referred to
word.
as the
Do you
N-word.
think there are TikToks somewhere in
Yeah.
the hundreds of millions of TikToks?
The answer is yes to whatever you're going to
that
say.
there's-
use the word and
Yeah.
say the word.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would
You know,
think
listen, I've been recently rewatching All in the Family because a lot of clips have come up, and a lot of people nowadays they're shocked to see what they would talk about. They use the N-word all the time, and the sad thing is,
Did they really?
Yeah, and it was satire then. And the problem with satire is only smart people understand satire. So the people that are sharing a lot of these old clips now, they don't get that was satire. They actually are looking to the things Archie would say as gospel, as you see, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what it is to make America great again or whatever. And it's like, they don't even understand. Carol
Right.
O'Connor was a huge liberal. That was satire.
You know what's funny?
To make that look, to show how wrong it was.
It was an English show, correct? That they brought over.
It was, yeah. It was originally
Well, but he
in.
was-
no, it was.
Oh, it was like the Office kind of thing.
Right,
where-
right.
What's
Yeah.
weird is I just
Well, the show's All in the
yesterday.
Family.
They're
Archie
really
Bunker, was
English
the
people
lead
are really
character.
funny.
They are.
They had a lot of.
Is
that Norman
Python.
Lear, I assume?
Yeah.
Normally, yes.
I saw a clip of Carol O'Connor giving an interview just recently.
Oh.
And I didn't like the funny thing is for the character he plays, he is the most like sort of uppity. He almost I had to look it up to find out that he wasn't British. He's one of those
really?
like guys from that era who spoke with a British accent.
Yes, he's very dignified, and then he'd go into character, and he would become all Queens.
You know who was like that? But you won't even remember him. Gabby Hayes.
Who's that?
Oh wow!
He was
Gabby
the old
Hayes
Western-
was an
the
old
beach volleyball
Western-
player?
He was Hopalong Cassidy's sidekick, and he was toothless and a beard and long hair, and he talked like this.
but then
And
on
he-
interviews-
yeah, I mean, he was a gourmet cook and everything. I mean, he's a great dresser. Just
Carol
people.
O'Connor was a wonderful actor. He actually won Emmys.
Well, so was-
many of them
so was what's her name?
as Archie Bunker. But then he won years later for playing the sheriff in The Heat of the Night when they made
Yeah.
that into a TV show, and that was a dramatic series. And yes, he had that kind of very dignified speaking voice, almost like the way you get in people that you think are not from this country but are, like Kelsey Grammer or John Lithgow.
Yeah.
People who just speak with such
Like
an effective tone.
Orson Welles.
And he was just from Kenosha.
Madonna was
and
like
he
that
really
for a
didn't
while.
speak
Well,
with an
that,
English
yeah.
accent.
He didn't. It was
but
just the way he articulated.
But it was something.
It was
not
British-
American.
no. It was
British.
British
it was like a
adjacent.
refined
Yeah, it was
affectation.
British-ish.
Yeah, it was.
But
Little
yeah,
breathy.
but Carol O'Connor, I think I saw the same interview you did. They asked him, how hard it is to slip in. It's so weird hearing this voice come out of your mouth. We're so accustomed to the Archie Bunker voice. And he immediately, of course, because it's him, he just turns around and he's Archie.
Yeah.
He's got that whole voice down, and Toilet becomes Turlet.
Well, how many
that.
how many seasons must they have done?
He did a lot because remember,
She died.
when they killed her character off at the end. They reformatted the show as
Archie's
Archie Bunker's place.
Right.
And it was him and this girl that he
girl.
had adopted, Danielle Bourgeois.
Young girl adopted.
Yeah, and that continued for a few more years. It basically went from 71 to 83 when you combine the two series together. It was very long running.
huge.
It was a phenomenon, and it had every spinoff, every great Norman Lear show can be traced back to All in the Family.
You remember when Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, yeah,
was
I just
on?
watched that episode like 2 nights ago.
I didn't know this, but I saw something about Frank Sinatra the other day, who was, I didn't know that he was essentially responsible for, I don't know what the word is, but integrating, I guess,
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Yes, because of Sammy Davis Jr. And he was
All of his friends. He
Yes.
was like, listen, you want me to play here? They get the same rooms. They get the same stuff I do.
And that's the importance of having allies. Any group that's on the fringes, I understand how you want to do it as a group collectively, but if you don't have allies that are already have some influence in the mainstream
Allies.
Yeah, you're
You
not going to
said
be able to do it. Yeah,
you
one
said
time I
allies.
said allies. The other ones I said allies. If you don't have that, you're not going to be successful.
And Frank Sinatra was a great man.
He was.
Now, I don't
Sounds
know
like it.
all the stuff he did. I'm sure he did
No,
something
but
Listen,
like we
the
all
greatest
do a little
man
good
are
or
still
bad.
flawed, and I'm sure there are people that would say he was terrible. But I agree with you. I think he was. I think there's enough evidence to suggest he
And
was
you
a
know
great
what's
man.
interesting? On the Hill, he's the man.
Of course.
They
Frank
don't,
Sinatra.
Dean Martin, who I thought
He's more
rivaled
talented.
him.
He didn't have the hits.
No, he actually did. But you know
Not
what?
that Sinatra had.
But everybody
Dean
knows
Martin
Sriracha.
had a
I got
TV show for
Sinatra
over a
watch on
decade,
right now.
and he was a very successful actor.
And when
What do you have?
I know this watch.
Yeah, the Bolivo with
Yes.
the Sinatra hat on it.
Yeah, wait,
Oh,
I'll
really?
show them. Yeah, I want
So
to.
they
I
came out
haven't
with
seen
the
it
line.
in person, but
Frank
I've seen it
Sinatra
on.
was the first person to ever have a brand deal with a
Oh, wow.
watch company.
Oh, that's
but-
wonderful.
That they remade
Here,
that
take a
after
look at
100
this.
years.
Oh, that is
But
cool.
wait,
You
wait,
see what
yeah.
the 12 is? The 12
And
is
it's got
his
the hat.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what the 12
Yeah,
is on there.
and the signature.
My wife got
Yeah,
that.
but TV
uh,
show isn't music you play in your living room.
No,
It's
honestly,
I saw it.
Dean Martin was very happy
But
being
when you
a
talk,
sidekick.
but when
He
you talk
wasn't-
about Dean
didn't need
Martin,
to be the guy.
you forget his biggest achievement. Martin and Lewis. I mean,
well,
they
yes,
were the
as a
number
comedy
one
team,
movie
they were the
stars.
biggest in
They
the-
were
in the
bigger-
world.
Not
It's
still not
just
the
for
same as-
anybody. They were the
Yeah.
biggest movie stars.
They were
in the
Still
number
not the
one.
same as a musical artist, especially back then when there
But remember,
weren't even that many big artists.
But he was a big musical. I mean, he did everything.
But not like
But I
Frank
think if you asked the
Sinatra.
person
No,
my
he
age,
wasn't as
they
big
would-
as
they would say
Sinatra.
Sinatra.
Yeah,
His name's still living.
Sinatra's name stands the test of time,
But,
like
but as
Elvis's
a movie
name
star,
does.
Dean Martin
Way
was
bigger.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to go right on record. I'm a bigger Dean Martin fan. In terms of, he was more talented. He
Right.
was, because he could do it all. He was funny. He was in a lot of movies. He was the host of. He was a great host of a show that went on for more than a decade.
He had a beautiful
His
singing
roasts
voice.
were legendary. He had a phenomenal singing voice. That said, as a gravitas,
As an icon,
iconic
Frank
figure,
Sinatra's-
But
Sinatra's
it's
number
not
one.
just that. It's music is just so much easier to pass down from generation to generation. You're not going to have your kids aren't going to sit and watch 40 episodes of Martin and Lewis, but they're going to hear a Frank Sinatra album in the background and remember
but
the
you know what?
songs.
I think,
everybody
I think you would be.
that's right.
I think you would both be surprised as to how much Dean Martin music you're actually very
You might,
familiar with.
But
You just
I'm
haven't like categorized it that way in your head.
With Frank Sinatra, he gets basically credit for the whole American songbook because
Yes.
entertainers back then,
Yeah,
would
they weren't
sing all
necessarily
the
his
songs.
songs.
and a lot of, and in all fairness,
They would sing the
a
same
lot
songs.
a lot of the signature versions, the best known versions of those songs were the Sinatra versions. There were only a handful that you'd say Dean Martin's version is the definitive. That's Amore.
Yeah.
You're nobody till somebody loves you. Those are Dean Martin
Houston.
songs. Memories are made of this. I think his version of The Birds and the Bees. Those are Dean Martin definitive songs.
You know what?
It's cold outside.
We have been going for very, very
Well,
long.
when you have a guest as good as this,
Yeah, I know,
you're going
I
to
know.
go longer. You got to give him his
I
fair
love your
shake.
guys'
but
show,
you know,
man.
we've got to.
We will
gotta wrap
continue
it up.
this.
start thinking about
We'll
wrapping
continue
up. at
this on
least.
an episode of the Bucket List podcast. We'll get
We'll
the
come
whole
over
gang
there.
There you
back
go.
together.
Yeah.
We
I'll
can
have to
shoot
pay
it
for
here.
extra studio time. to
We
get
can
you guys
just.
in there.
We don't. Why don't you just film it here?
Wait, wait.
No, it doesn't. It's not the
He said
same.
he'd pay. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
know,
saying. But I'm
we're
seeing
trying
this
to
regular
monetize
podcast.
this
If you're
thing.
paying people to do it,
You got to get ad money coming.
gotta-
in.
it's
You know
gotta
what?
start
I
somewhere.
would love to sit down and talk to you about getting some ideas for how we could get
You guys
a
take-
bigger
we're gonna
audience,
learn from the best.
monetize.
And there's
All
going to be
of
more than my mom out there watching and my son.
What are our numbers up to? Like 3 million? Yes, you millions. Come down and see us.
No, you guys have a good show, man. I'm inspired by you guys. I think for people like you to get up and show up each and every day and make content, I mean, that's enough in itself.
And we
you
get
get to
up
do it with your dad, and
and
that's the
show
coolest
up
thing ever.
every
So
Yeah, we have a great
single
time.
day.
Just wish somebody would watch it. Like, share, comment,
That's it.
watch.
You heard it. We get up and we show up.
Wait
I
till-
know that's 90%.
I said you guys are great at showing up
That's
every
right.
week.
That's
That's more than other
wait till
people.
Showing
the-
up is
I'll
the
tell
key
you
to
that right now.
success.
Wait till
I'll
the
tell you that right
aliens
now.
come in 1,000
Oh,
years
God.
and say,
All good?
Who were they talking
All right.
We're good.
That's
We're done.
a wrap.
See you guys
All right,
next
we're
week.
done. Goodbye.
to? Why did they
That's
record
amore.
it?
Steven's already home.
All right.
Who is
Now,
going
that
to
was a great
listen?
rehearsal,
Whoa.
but now we got to do the real thing.
Yeah.
Here, let's-
Who is going to listen?